Good day, lovely viewers. Welcome to Harryverse X. We have an exciting story lined up for you today. What if Batman found Harry at age 4 and trained him in the Batcave as the wizard detective who solved every curse? Your engagement means the world to us. Like, comment, and subscribe to help us grow and bring you more amazing content. Without wasting any time, let's start. Chapter 1, The Boy Who Learned. Bruce Wayne hadn't planned to be in Surrey, England that rainy November night. Wayne Enterprises was considering acquiring a British tech firm, and while the lawyers handled the details, Bruce decided to patrol. Not as himself, the other self. The one who haunted Gotham's nights. Batman perched on a rooftop in Little Whinging, water cascading off his cowl. This suburb hardly seemed worth his attention, identical houses lined up like soldiers, gardens meticulously maintained despite the autumn chill. Nothing like Gotham's Gothic nightmare. But something had pinged his sensors. An energy reading unlike anything he'd recorded before. "Alfred, I'm detecting strange radiation from Privet Drive. Nothing in the known spectrum. Shall I contact Star Labs, sir?" Alfred's voice crackled through the calm. "No. I want to investigate personally." Batman fired his grapnel gun and swung toward the source. The reading led him to number 4, a house indistinguishable from its neighbors except for what his equipment detected, energy pulsing from within. Batman activated his cowl's thermal imaging and scanned the building. 3 heat signatures upstairs, likely sleeping. But a 4th, smaller signature appeared under the stairs. A child, based on the size, sitting awake while everyone else slept. Strange. Concerning. Batman moved silently to a window and picked the lock with practiced ease. Inside, the house smelled of furniture polish and roast beef. Family photos lined the walls, a large man, a thin woman, and a chubby boy. No sign of a 4th family member. The energy readings grew stronger as he approached the cupboard under the stairs. A small padlock secured it from the outside. Batman's eyes narrowed behind his cowl. Who locks a cupboard from the outside? He picked this lock too, even more carefully, and slowly pulled the door open. Green eyes stared back at him, wide with surprise but not fear. A small boy, maybe 4 years old, sat on a thin mattress surrounded by spiders and cleaning supplies. A single bare bulb illuminated the space. The boy wore oversized clothes, his black hair wild and uncut. A lightning-shaped scar marked his forehead. "Are you a superhero?" the boy whispered. Batman crouched down. "Why are you in here?" "I'm Harry. This is my room." The boy, Harry, said this like it was the most normal thing in the world. "Are you here because of the weird things?" "What weird things, Harry?" The boy bit his lip, then held out his palm. A small light appeared there, hovering in glowing soft blue. The energy reading spiked. "I'm not supposed to do that," Harry whispered. "Uncle Vernon gets mad. Says freaks sleep in cupboards." Batman had seen metahumans, aliens, and people altered by chemicals. But this child seemed different. The energy had a pattern to it, almost like a language Batman couldn't quite read. "Harry, does your family hurt you?" The boy looked down. "Sometimes Uncle Vernon grabs hard. Aunt Petunia doesn't feed me when I do weird things. Dudley hits a lot." Batman had heard enough. This wasn't his jurisdiction, but some crimes transcended borders. "Would you like to leave this place, Harry?" The boy looked around his cupboard, then back at Batman. "Forever." "Forever." Harry nodded solemnly. Batman helped him gather his few possessions, some broken toys, a threadbare blanket, and clothes that would better fit a child twice his size. "Sir," Alfred's voice came through the comm, "what exactly are you doing?" "Improvising," Batman replied. "Prepare the plane for a passenger." "A passenger?" "Master Bruce, you're not, we'll discuss it when I return." "And Alfred?" "Prepare the guest room adjacent to mine." "The one with the ensuite bathroom?" "Very good, sir." Though I feel compelled to point out that kidnapping is typically frowned upon, even for vigilantes. It's not kidnapping when it's rescue, Batman muttered, though he knew the legal complications would be enormous. Harry walked alongside Batman, small hand gripping the vigilante's cape. He didn't look back at the house as they left. Harry's first weeks at Wayne Manor passed in a blur of wonder and healing. Bruce Wayne, who Harry quickly learned was Batman's secret identity, had doctors check his health, lawyers handle his adoption, and Alfred ensure he ate regularly. The cave beneath the manor fascinated Harry most. While Bruce worked at the massive computer, Harry would practice moving small objects with his mind, making them float and spin. "Master Harry," Alfred said one evening, bringing down a tray of sandwiches, "perhaps you might refrain from levitating the batarangs? They're rather sharp." Harry gently lowered the bat-shaped projectiles. "Sorry, Alfred." Bruce turned from the computer. "You're getting better at controlling it. It helps when I'm not scared." Harry climbed onto a chair beside Bruce. "Why aren't you freaked out by what I can do?" Bruce considered the question. "I've seen a lot of unexplained things, Harry. People who can fly, run faster than sound, breathe underwater. Your abilities are different, but not unprecedented. But you don't have powers." "No." Bruce pulled back his cowl. "I have training. Knowledge. Will." Harry nodded seriously. "Could I learn what you know? Even with my weird stuff?" Bruce studied the boy. In the short time since bringing him to Gotham, he'd watched Harry transform from a withdrawn, malnourished child to a curious, determined one. The boy soaked up knowledge like a sponge, reading anything he could get his hands on and asking endless questions. "Your weird stuff is part of you, Harry. We need to understand it, not fear it." Bruce opened a drawer and removed a leather-bound journal. "I want you to record every instance when you use your abilities. What triggered it, what you felt, what happened. Data is the beginning of understanding." Harry took the journal reverently. "Like a detective." Exactly like a detective. 6 months after Harry's arrival, an owl crashed into the manor's kitchen window during breakfast. Alfred, unflappable as ever, simply opened the window. "It appears we have mail, sir." The owl dropped a letter onto the table and perched on a chair, looking expectantly at them. "That's weird," Harry said, reaching for the letter. At 6 years old now, he spoke with more confidence, the British accent mingling with hints of Gotham's distinctive tones. The envelope bore no stamp, only a wax seal with an ornate H pressed into it. Bruce examined it carefully before allowing Harry to open it. "Mr. Bruce Wayne," Harry read aloud, "we have been made aware of your custody of Harry Potter and wish to discuss matters of significant importance regarding his heritage and education. A representative will call upon you tomorrow at noon. Yours sincerely, Albus Dumbledore, headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry." Bruce frowned. "Witchcraft and wizardry? Like magic?" Harry's eyes lit up. "Is that what I can do? Magic?" "Let's not jump to conclusions," Bruce cautioned, though privately he'd been developing theories about Harry's abilities. "This could be someone who's learned about your powers and is trying to exploit you. Or it could be a whole school of people like me," Harry countered. "Maybe I'm not a freak after all." Bruce put his hand on Harry's shoulder. "You were never a freak, Harry. Never." The next day at precisely noon, the manor's doorbell rang. Alfred opened it to find a severe-looking woman in emerald robes and a pointed hat. "Professor Minerva McGonagall," she introduced herself. "I believe Mr. Wayne is expecting me." Bruce met her in the study, Harry beside him. The woman's eyes immediately went to Harry, focusing on his scar. "Mr. Potter," she said softly. "You look very well. Better than I feared." Bruce stepped forward. "I'm Bruce Wayne. Your letter was rather vague, Professor. Perhaps you could explain what this is about." McGonagall straightened. "Mr. Wayne, what I'm about to tell you may seem difficult to believe, but Harry Potter is a wizard, born to magical parents who were murdered when he was a baby. He was placed with his mother's sister for protection, but it seems you've intervened in those arrangements. They locked him in a cupboard, Bruce said flatly. They starved him. McGonagall's lips thinned. I warned Albus those muggles were the worst sort. She turned to Harry. Has anything strange happened around you, Mr. Potter? Things you couldn't explain? Harry glanced at Bruce, who nodded slightly. I can move things without touching them, Harry said. And sometimes I know things before they happen. Once when Dudley, my cousin, was chasing me, I ended up on the school roof without climbing. Apparition at your age, McGonagall murmured, impressed. You're quite powerful. Magic is real, then? Harry asked. McGonagall drew a wooden stick, a wand, Bruce realized, and with a flick, transformed Bruce's desk into a large pig and back again. Harry grinned. Wicked. Bruce remained impassive, though his mind raced with implications. You mentioned Harry's parents. Who killed them, and why? McGonagall's expression darkened. A dark wizard who called himself Lord Voldemort. He tried to kill Harry too, but somehow the spell rebounded. That's how Harry got that scar. That's why he's famous in our world, the boy who lived, they call him. Famous? Harry looked bewildered. For something you don't even remember, Bruce said grimly. Professor, what exactly do you want with Harry now? When he turns 11, Harry should attend Hogwarts to learn to control his magic. Until then, he should be prepared. There are books, basic theory he could study. And Mr. Wayne, there are those in our world who would prefer Harry return to his relatives. The blood protection, that's not happening, Bruce cut her off. I've legally adopted Harry. He stays with me. McGonagall studied Bruce. You're a muggle, a non-magical person. Raising a wizard child, especially one as significant as Harry, will be challenging. Bruce almost smiled. I specialize in challenges, Professor. After McGonagall left, having provided books on magical theory and history, Bruce found Harry in the library, already poring over A Beginner's Guide to Magical Theory. Bruce, Harry looked up excitedly, this explains everything. The energy patterns, the way the power flows through objects. Bruce sat beside him. This changes things, Harry. There's a whole world out there we need to understand. Are you mad? That I'm a wizard? No. Bruce ruffled Harry's hair. But we need to approach this systematically. Your magic is a tool, like any other in my arsenal. We need to learn its rules, its limitations. Harry nodded seriously. Like detective work. Exactly. Bruce picked up another book titled Magical Drafts and Potions. And it seems we have a lot to investigate. By age 8, Harry had developed a routine that blended both his worlds. Mornings with Alfred for regular education, mathematics, science, literature. Afternoons with Bruce for physical training and detective skills. Evenings studying magical theory and attempting simple wandless spells. Focus, Harry, Bruce instructed as Harry attempted to magically unlock a practice door in the Batcave. It's not about wanting it to open. It's about understanding the mechanism and directing your energy precisely. Harry wiped sweat from his brow. The books say most wizards need wands for this stuff. Most wizards didn't train with Batman, Bruce replied. Try again. Harry closed his eyes, visualizing the lock's tumblers as Bruce had taught him. He focused his energy, his magic, into a narrow stream and pushed. The lock clicked open. Harry grinned. I did it. Good. Now explain how. This was Bruce's method, never just accomplishment, but understanding. Harry walked Bruce through the process, drawing diagrams of the lock mechanism and explaining how he'd manipulated it. Excellent, Bruce nodded. Tomorrow we'll try something more complex. Later that night, Batman allowed Harry to join him in the Batmobile, not for patrol, but to observe Gotham from its rooftops. "This city has its own kind of magic," Batman said as they looked out over the glittering lights. "Dark and light intertwined. Your job is to see both." Harry, wrapped in a specially designed dark coat that hid his identity while allowing movement, nodded. "Like how that building has security cameras covering all approaches except the northeast corner." Batman nodded. And there's a delivery truck that's been parked too long for this time of night. The driver's nervous, keeps checking his watch." "Good observation. What else?" Harry squinted, then pointed. "That woman walking alone, she's not really alone. Someone's following her from the shadows." Batman was already moving. "Stay here." Harry watched as Batman swooped down, intercepting a would-be mugger before he could reach his target. The takedown was quick, efficient. The woman never knew she'd been in danger. When Batman returned, Harry was thoughtful. "That's what I want to do. Help people who don't even know they need help. It's not an easy path." "I know." Harry looked up at his guardian. "But it's the right one." Harry's 9th year brought a new challenge to Gotham, one that bridged his two worlds. Reports of bizarre crimes began appearing, locked rooms mysteriously emptied of valuables, witnesses describing assailants who vanished into thin air, security footage showing objects moving on their own. "Magic," Harry said immediately when Bruce showed him the police reports. "Someone's using magic to commit crimes." Bruce nodded. "That's my assessment as well. The question is, who?" They had their answer 3 nights later when Batman investigated a break-in at Gotham National Bank. The vault had been opened without triggering alarms, the money seemingly evaporating. Batman found a calling card left behind, not the Joker's playing card or Riddler's question mark, but an ornate wand carved with runes, deliberately broken in half. Harry examined it in the Batcave. This was done as a message. "Wands are precious to wizards, breaking one is symbolic." "Can you sense anything from it?" Bruce asked. Harry closed his eyes, holding his hand over the broken wand without touching it. "It feels cold. Angry. Whoever used this has been practicing dark magic." Bruce ran the wand through various sensors. "The magical signature matches the energy readings I detected when I found you." "A wizard in Gotham," Harry mused. Professor McGonagall said most American wizards live in communities away from non-magical people. Which means either a tourist or someone with specific intentions. Bruce pulled up the Batcomputer's growing database on magical crime patterns. "I've detected 7 incidents in the past month, all following lunar cycles." "Rituals," Harry said immediately. "Some spells are stronger during certain moon phases." The criminal struck again the next night, this time at Wayne Enterprises. Batman, with Harry monitoring from the cave, arrived to find an intruder in the R&D department, levitating specialized equipment into a bottomless bag. "Stop," Batman growled, emerging from the shadows. The man turned, surprised but not frightened. Tall and elegant in tailored robes, with silver-streaked black hair and a neatly trimmed beard, he looked more like a professor than a thief. The man said in a cultured British accent. "How fascinating. I wondered if you'd notice my work. Put it back. Now." The man smiled. "I think not." He flicked his wand, sending a bolt of red light toward Batman. Batman dodged, throwing a batarang that the wizard deflected with a shield charm. In his ear, Harry was rapidly providing information. "That was a stunning spell, it would have knocked you unconscious. His shield is standard protection magic." Batman threw a smoke pellet, but the wizard vanished it with another flick. "Muggle tricks," the wizard sneered. "Charming, but ineffective." "Who are you?" Batman demanded, circling to flank him. "Alistair Blackwood," the wizard replied with a small bow. "Formerly of the Department of Mysteries, until they became uncomfortable with my research." In the cave, Harry frantically searched through the magical history books. "Bruce," he whispered, "the British Ministry fired a wizard named Blackwood 5 years ago for experiments combining magic with Muggle technology." Batman filed this away. "What do you want with Wayne Tech?" "Integration," Blackwood said. "Magic and technology, combined. The wizarding world wastes its potential, hiding away. With the right applications, magic could revolutionize everything." "By stealing?" Blackwood shrugged. "Means to an end. Though I admit, I didn't expect to encounter you. The magical community largely considers you an urban legend." "Then you're poorly informed." Batman threw another batarang, this one containing an EMP pulse. The electronic equipment in the room died, including the magical dampening device Bruce had developed after learning about Harry's abilities. For just a moment, Blackwood's magic flickered. Batman struck in that instant, driving forward with practiced precision. Blackwood recovered quickly, operating 10 feet away, but Batman had anticipated this, throwing down specialized caltrops where he reappeared. Blackwood cursed as the caltrops pierced his shoes. "Clever," he admitted, "but insufficient." He pointed his wand at Batman. "Avada, Bruce, move." Harry's voice shouted in Batman's ear. "That's the killing curse." Batman dove behind a desk as green light flashed overhead. The desk exploded into splinters. "Impressive reflexes," Blackwood noted. "But I've lingered too long." He touched a pendant at his throat. "Until next time, Batman." With a crack, he disappeared, taking the Wayne Tech with him. Back in the Batcave, Bruce studied the readings from the encounter while Harry paced anxiously. "The killing curse," Harry said, shaken. He was going to use an unforgivable curse. "That's Azkaban, wizard prison, for life." "He's escalating," Bruce agreed. "And he knows we're onto him now." Harry stopped pacing. "We need to figure out what he's building. The components he's stolen, quantum processors, specialized alloys, now the neural interface tech from Wayne Enterprises, it's all cutting-edge stuff." Bruce nodded, impressed with Harry's analysis. "And combined with magic? Could be almost anything." Harry frowned. "But why Gotham? There must be magical communities with access to technology." "Because Gotham has something else," Bruce realized. "Something he needs." Over the next week, they tracked Blackwood's movements through the city. He hit 3 more technology companies before Batman managed to place a tracker on the wizard's robes during an encounter. The signal led them to an abandoned subway station beneath Gotham's Old Town district. Batman insisted Harry remain in the cave despite his protests. "I can help," Harry argued. "I understand magic better than you do." "And Blackwood understands it better than both of us," Bruce countered. "I'm not putting you at risk." Harry scowled but eventually nodded. "Fine, but I'm monitoring everything. If you need magical information, I'll ask." Bruce squeezed Harry's shoulder. "You're my partner in this, Harry. Just not in the field." "Not yet." The subway station had been transformed. Blackwood had established a laboratory where magical runes glowed alongside computer screens. At the center stood a device resembling a portal frame, half technological, half magical in construction. Batman observed from the shadows as Blackwood worked, muttering incantations while typing commands into a terminal. "What do you see?" Harry asked through the comm. "Some kind of gateway," Batman whispered. "He's combining magical runes with technology. The frame is generating both electrical and magical fields." Harry gasped. "Bruce, I think he's trying to create a permanent portal between dimensions. The magical books mention theories about parallel magical realms that wizards have never been able to access. What would happen if he succeeded? Best case. He opens a stable portal to another dimension. Worst case. He tears a hole in reality that destroys Gotham." Batman had heard enough. He threw an EMP batarang at the computers while simultaneously activating the magical dampening field he'd brought. Blackwood spun around. Batman. Right on schedule. It's over, Blackwood. The wizard smiled coldly. On the contrary. You're just in time to witness history. He flicked his wand despite the dampening field, triggering a backup system. The portal frame hummed to life, electricity and magic crackling around its edges. A swirling vortex began to form in its center. Stop! Batman lunged forward, but magical restraints erupted from the ground, wrapping around him. The dampening field was clever, Blackwood acknowledged, but predictable. I've been studying you, Batman. You rely on preparation and technology, admirable, but limited against true magic. The portal grew, its edges unstable, reality seeming to crack around it. Bruce, Harry's voice came urgently, the readings are off the charts. The dimensional boundaries are collapsing. What did you do? Batman demanded, struggling against the restraints. Blackwood laughed. I've done what no wizard has ever accomplished, bridged our world with the source of all magic. Raw magical energy, Batman. Unlimited power. The portal flashed, disgorging tentacle-like strands of pure magical energy that lashed around the chamber. It's unstable. Batman warned. A minor calibration issue, Blackwood insisted, though sweat beaded on his brow as he worked frantically at his controls. In the Batcave, Harry made a decision. He ran to the Batmobile bay where Bruce had been developing a smaller, prototype vehicle. Alfred, he called. I need to get to Old Town, now. Master Bruce was quite clear, he's going to die if I don't help. Harry pointed to the monitors showing the energy reading spiking dangerously. Please, Alfred. Alfred hesitated only briefly before nodding. The autopilot is engaged. Simply enter the coordinates. Harry jumped into the vehicle, punching in the location. Thanks, Alfred. I'll bring him back. See that you both return, Master Harry. The ride felt agonizingly slow, though in reality it took only minutes. Harry entered the subway station to find chaos, magical energy whipping through the air, Blackwood struggling to contain the portal, and Batman still bound but working methodically to escape. Harry! Batman shouted, spotting him. Get back! Blackwood turned, surprised. A child? Here. His eyes narrowed as he studied Harry, then widened in recognition. Those eyes, you're Lily Potter's boy. The one who survived the killing curse. Harry ignored him, focusing on Bruce. He raised his hand, concentrating intensely, and the magical restraints shattered. Batman immediately moved toward Blackwood, but the wizard blocked him with a magical barrier. Fascinating, Blackwood said, studying Harry. Raw power, untrained but potent. And in Batman's company, no less. The portal pulsed dangerously, drawing their attention back to the immediate threat. It's collapsing, Blackwood admitted. I miscalculated the containment requirements. Harry stepped forward. I can feel the magic. It's too much, like trying to pour an ocean through a straw. Precisely the problem, Blackwood agreed, sounding oddly pleased despite the danger. Perhaps with your help. No, Batman cut him off. Harry, can you disrupt the magical side of the equation while I shut down the technology? Harry nodded, closing his eyes to sense the magical patterns. Unlike Blackwood's controlled, structured spell work, Harry's magic responded to his intuition. He reached out, not fighting the portal's energy but redirecting it, like a river finding a new path. Batman, meanwhile, targeted the power systems, strategically disabling the technological components. Together, they worked in silent coordination, magic and technology complementing each other. Blackwood watched in astonishment. Impossible. The boy has no wand, no formal training. The portal began to shrink, its energy folding inward. With a final flash and thunderclap, it collapsed entirely, leaving the frame smoking and inert. Batman moved quickly to apprehend Blackwood, but the wizard had one last trick. He threw down a vial that erupted in blinding light and smoke. When it cleared, he was gone. Harry sagged, exhausted from the magical exertion. Batman caught him before he could fall. "You disobeyed a direct order," Batman said sternly. "I saved your life," Harry countered. A hint of a smile touched Batman's lips. "Yes. You did." After the Blackwood incident, Bruce intensified Harry's training. If magical threats existed, Harry needed to be prepared for them. But more importantly, Harry had demonstrated something crucial, the ability to think independently and act decisively in a crisis. "Your magic responds differently than Blackwood's," Bruce observed during a training session. "Less structured, more intuitive." Harry nodded. "The books say most wizards channel magic through specific spells and wands. But I feel like that's limiting." "It is," Bruce agreed. "They've systematized magic, made it predictable. That gives them consistency but sacrifices adaptability. Like fighting styles," Harry suggested. "Knowing the forms versus understanding the principles behind them." "Exactly." Bruce handed Harry a small metal box. "Try to open this without using the standard unlocking spell you've been practicing." Harry examined the box, feeling the magic imbued in its lock. Instead of directing a specific counterspell, he visualized the magical energy itself, finding its pattern and gently unraveling it like a knot. The box clicked open. "Good," Bruce nodded. "You're thinking like a detective now. Understanding the problem rather than just applying a solution you've memorized." By his 10th birthday, Harry had grown into a confident, thoughtful boy, still small for his age, but wiry and quick. His education spanned normal subjects, detective skills, and magical theory, creating a unique perspective that bridged multiple worlds. "Master Harry," Alfred called one morning, "you have mail." Harry came into the kitchen to find another owl waiting, this one bearing a thick envelope addressed in green ink, "Mr. H. Potter, the Blue Bedroom, Wayne Manor, Gotham City, United States of America." Harry opened it carefully, though he knew what it contained. Inside was his official Hogwarts acceptance letter, along with a list of required supplies and books. Bruce read it over Harry's shoulder. "So, the time has come." Harry looked up at his guardian. "What do you think? Should I go?" Bruce considered carefully before answering. "You need formal magical education, Harry. There's only so much you can learn from books and intuition." "But what about our work? The cases?" "The work continues. You'll be my eyes and ears in the magical world, investigating from that angle while I handle Gotham." Harry nodded slowly. "And Blackwood? Still out there. All the more reason for you to understand magic fully." Bruce put his hand on Harry's shoulder. "But remember what I've taught you. Question everything. Look beyond the obvious. Trust your instincts. Like a detective. Like the detective you already are." The Hogwarts letter included instructions for American students to contact the Magical Congress of the United States for transportation arrangements to London, where they could purchase supplies in a place called Diagon Alley. A week later, Bruce and Harry stood in a hidden magical shopping district in London, surrounded by witches and wizards going about their business. Harry wore a cap pulled low to hide his scar, but it didn't entirely prevent the whispers and stares. Harry Potter, with a muggle, thought he was in hiding. Bruce ignored the attention with practiced ease, guiding Harry through the crowds toward Gringotts Bank to exchange muggle money for wizarding currency. "Stay alert," Bruce murmured. "Notice the social dynamics, the hierarchies." Harry nodded, observing how pureblood wizards carried themselves differently from Muggleborns, how shopkeepers adjusted their demeanor based on customers' apparent wealth and status. Their shopping proceeded efficiently: robes, books, potion supplies, and finally, a wand. The wand maker, Ollivander, peered at Harry curiously as they entered his shop. "I wondered when I'd be seeing you, Mr. Potter." His gaze shifted to Bruce. "And with unusual company, I see." "This is my guardian, Mr. Wayne," Harry said firmly. Ollivander nodded. "Of course. Well then, let's find you a wand." He began presenting options, each reacting differently to Harry's touch, some doing nothing, others causing minor chaos. After several attempts, Ollivander presented a holly and phoenix feather wand. When Harry grasped it, warm golden light filled the shop. "Curious," Ollivander murmured. "Very curious." "What's curious?" Bruce asked. "I remember every wand I've ever sold, Mr. Wayne. The phoenix whose tail feather resides in Mr. Potter's wand gave another feather, just one other. It is curious that he should be destined for this wand when its brother gave him that scar." Harry looked at the wand with new understanding. "Voldemort's wand." "We can expect great things from you, Mr. Potter," Ollivander said. "After all, he who must not be named did great things, terrible, yes, but great." Bruce's expression remained impassive, but Harry could sense his guardian's discomfort with this perspective. Outside the shop, Harry spoke quietly. "Brothers. My wand and his. A connection," Bruce acknowledged, "but not a destiny. Remember, Harry, tools don't determine outcomes. The wielder does." Harry nodded, drawing strength from Bruce's certainty. Their final stop was Flourish and Blott's bookstore, where Bruce insisted on purchasing additional books beyond the required texts, Advanced Magical Theory, Defensive Magic, and Magical Creatures. "Knowledge is your greatest weapon," Bruce reminded him. As they finished shopping, a large man with a wild beard approached them, his face breaking into a smile upon seeing Harry. "Harry Potter. Look at ya. Last time I saw you, you was just a baby." The giant man beamed. "Rubius Hagrid, keeper of keys at Hogwarts. Professor Dumbledore sent me to check on ya, make sure ya got your supplies all right." Harry shook the enormous hand offered to him. "Hello, Mr. Hagrid. This is my guardian, Bruce Wayne." Hagrid eyed Bruce uncertainly. Pleasure. Bit unusual, this arrangement." Dumbledore was mighty surprised when he heard. "I imagine he was," Bruce said neutrally. "Harry is well cared for." "Oh, I can see that." Hagrid hastened to add. "Ya look proper healthy, Harry, not like some of the stories folks was spreadin' about ya being hidden away." "What stories?" Harry asked sharply. "Oh, this and that. People talk, ya know. But never mind all that." Hagrid brightened. "Excited fair Hogwarts?" Harry nodded. "I've been studying magic theory already, actually. I'm particularly interested in how different magical disciplines interact." Hagrid looked surprised. "Blimey, yeah, sound like a Ravenclaw already. Smart as your mum, she was." "You knew my parents?" Harry asked eagerly. "Course I did. Your dad was a bit of a troublemaker, but brilliant on a broomstick. And Lily, clever witch, kindest heart yet ever meet." Harry absorbed this information hungrily. Despite Bruce's efforts to learn about the Potters, information had been scarce. "Perhaps Mr. Hagrid could join us for lunch," Bruce suggested, noting Harry's interest. "We'd appreciate hearing more about Hogwarts and Harry's parents." Over lunch at a small wizarding cafe, Hagrid shared stories about Hogwarts and the Potters. Harry listened intently, building a mental picture of his parents and the world they'd inhabited. "Professors are all preparing for the term," Hagrid explained. "Even Professor Snape's been brewing extra potions, though he'd never admit he's excited." "Snape?" Harry asked. "Potions master. Brilliant with a cauldron, but, Hagrid shifted uncomfortably. "Bit strict with students." Bruce caught the hesitation. Was he connected to Harry's parents? "Went to school with M," Hagrid admitted. "Didn't get on with James much, if I'm honest." Harry filed this information away for later investigation. Bruce had taught him that personal histories often revealed crucial context. As they prepared to leave, Hagrid handed Harry a small package. Early birthday present. Just an owl, dead useful, carry your mail and everything. Inside was a beautiful snowy owl that blinked amber eyes at Harry. Thank you, Harry said sincerely. I'll take good care of her. What will you name her? Hagrid asked. Harry considered. Hedwig. I read about her in A History of Magic. She was a witch who used her knowledge to heal people. Bruce nodded approvingly. Names had power and meaning, another lesson he'd taught Harry. Back at Wayne Manor, Harry prepared for his departure to Hogwarts. Bruce presented him with several special gifts, a communication device disguised as a watch, a set of miniaturized detective tools, and a journal with magically expanding pages. For recording your observations, Bruce explained. Everything is evidence, Harry. The way people react to your name, the subjects they avoid, the alliances they form. Harry nodded seriously. I'll be your eyes and ears. More than that, Bruce corrected. You'll be your own detective. Solving your own mysteries. The night before Harry was to leave, they stood in the Batcave together. Harry had insisted on one final patrol observation from the cave's monitors. What if Blackwood returns while I'm gone? Harry asked, watching Batman's allies handling routine crimes on the screens. I'll handle it, Bruce assured him. And alert you if it involves magic. Harry nodded, then asked the question that had been bothering him. What if I'm not, what if I don't live up to their expectations? Everyone in the wizarding world seems to think I'm some kind of hero. Bruce turned Harry to face him. You're not going to Hogwarts to fulfill their expectations, Harry. You're going to learn, to observe, to understand that world from the inside. Like undercover work. In a way. But remember, Bruce knelt to Harry's level, who you are isn't defined by what happened when you were a baby, or by what others expect from you. It's defined by what you choose to do with your knowledge and abilities. Harry straightened his shoulders. I choose to help people. To solve the cases others can't. Bruce smiled slightly. Then you're already successful, regardless of what happens at Hogwarts. The next morning, Harry stood on platform 9 3/4, trunk packed, Hedwig in her cage, and his mind filled with both excitement and purpose. Bruce had accompanied him to London, attracting curious stares from wizarding families. Remember your training, Bruce said quietly. Observe everything. Trust your instincts. I will. Harry hugged his guardian. Thank you. For everything. We'll continue your detective training during holidays, Bruce promised. And stay in contact through the comm watch. Harry nodded, then turned toward the Hogwarts Express, ready to begin the next phase of his education. He wasn't just Harry Potter, the boy who lived. He was Harry Potter Wayne, wizard detective in training. As the train pulled away, Harry watched Bruce standing on the platform, tall, imposing, and yet the man who had shown him what family truly meant. Harry would make him proud. He would solve the mystery of his parents' murder, of Voldemort's defeat, of his own strange connection to the Dark Wizard. Most of all, he would bring the analytical methods of the world's greatest detective to the realm of magic, becoming something neither world had seen before, the Wizard Detective. Chapter 2, Two Worlds Collide. The Hogwarts Express rattled northward as Harry found an empty compartment and settled in. He pulled out his miniaturized case files, disguised as ordinary schoolbooks to any curious eyes, and reviewed what he knew about his parents' murder. Bruce had taught him to periodically revisit cold cases with fresh perspective. The compartment door slid open. A lanky red-headed boy poked his head in. Mind if I sit here? Everywhere else is full. Harry gestured to the empty seat. Go ahead. I'm Ron Weasley, the boy said, plopping down. Harry Wayne. Harry used the name Bruce had legally given him, though he knew it wouldn't last long in the wizarding world. Ron's eyes widened. Wait, are you Harry Potter? Harry sighed. That obvious? Your scar, Ron pointed. It's famous. Did you really grow up with muggles in America? Something like that. Harry redirected the conversation. What about you? Wizarding family? Yeah. Got 5 brothers and a sister. Bill and Charlie already finished school. Percy's a prefect. Fred and George are twins, huge pranksters. Then there's me, and Ginny starts next year. Harry noted the slight drop in Ron's voice. Tough being the youngest brother. Ron looked surprised at Harry's perception. Sometimes. Everyone's done everything before me. Whatever I do, they did it first. Harry nodded, filing this information away. Understanding people's motivations was crucial investigative groundwork. The compartment door opened again, revealing a girl with bushy brown hair and rather large front teeth. Has anyone seen a toad? A boy named Neville's lost one. No toads here, Ron replied. The girl noticed Harry's open case notes. What are you reading? That doesn't look like a first-year textbook. Harry smoothly flipped to a less suspicious page. Just some extra reading. I've done plenty of extra reading myself. I'm Hermione Granger. She sat down uninvited. Nobody in my family's magic at all. It was ever such a surprise when I got my letter. I've learned all our course books by heart, of course. I just hope it will be enough. Harry studied her, nervous energy, over-preparation, need to prove herself. Classic signs of someone entering an unfamiliar environment determined to succeed. Knowledge is only part of the equation, Harry said. Understanding how to apply it matters more. Hermione looked at him curiously. That's an interesting perspective. Who are you, by the way? Harry Wayne. Also known as Potter, apparently. Her eyes widened. Are you really? I know all about you, of course. I got a few extra books for background reading, and you're in Modern Magical History and The Rise and Fall of the Dark Arts. Most of which is speculation, Harry countered. Nobody actually interviewed me, and I was a baby when it happened. Hermione blinked, taken aback by his directness. I suppose that's true. I hadn't considered that. Ron looked between them. Blimey, Harry. Most people just enjoy being famous. Fame based on false narratives is worthless, Harry replied, channeling Bruce. I'd rather be known for things I've actually done. The conversation shifted to houses, spells, and expectations of Hogwarts. Harry observed his companions carefully, Ron's insecurity beneath casual humor, Hermione's intelligence masked by social awkwardness. Potential allies, Bruce would say. Everyone needed a network. The sorting ceremony revealed much about Hogwarts' social dynamics. Harry watched each house's reactions to new sortings, noting patterns. Slytherin's cold appraisal. Ravenclaw's quiet assessment. Hufflepuff's warm welcome. Gryffindor's boisterous celebration. When the hat touched Harry's head, it spoke directly into his mind, difficult, very difficult. Plenty of courage, I see. Not a bad mind either. There's talent, oh my goodness, yes, and a thirst to prove yourself. But where to put you? Harry thought of Bruce's teachings. Where I can learn the most while helping others. Interesting, the hat mused. Your mind is unusually ordered for someone so young. Analytical, observant. Ravenclaw would nurture that intellect. Yet I sense a deeper purpose driving you. Better be Gryffindor. The Gryffindor table erupted in cheers. Harry took his seat beside Ron, who had also been sorted into Gryffindor, while Hermione sat across from them, looking pleased. At the high table, Harry assessed the professors. Dumbledore watched him with twinkling eyes that reminded Harry of Commissioner Gordon's, kind but calculating. A hook-nosed professor in black stared at Harry with an expression that shifted from shock to contempt to confusion. Harry maintained eye contact, refusing to look away first. Who's that professor talking to Professor Quirrell? He asked Percy Weasley. Professor Snape, head of Slytherin House. Teaches potions, but everyone knows he wants Quirrell's job. Defense against the dark arts. Harry filed this away. Snape, the one who'd known his parents. The one who, according to Hagrid, hadn't gotten along with his father. Interesting. After the feast, Dumbledore approached Harry. Mr. Potter, or do you prefer Wayne? Might I have a word? Harry nodded, following the headmaster to a quiet corner. I must confess, your situation has caused quite a stir, Dumbledore said gently. Many of us believed you were safely residing with your mother's family. I was rescued from that situation, Harry replied evenly. Rescued? A strong word. An accurate one. They kept me in a cupboard and starved me. Dumbledore's eyes lost their twinkle. I was not aware. I had monitoring charms, but they only detected serious physical harm. Not all harm leaves visible marks, Harry countered, using a phrase Bruce often repeated when discussing victims of psychological trauma. Indeed. Dumbledore seemed genuinely troubled. And Mr. Wayne has been good to you? He saved me. Taught me. Gave me a home and a purpose. Purpose can be a heavy burden for one so young. Harry smiled slightly. So can fame for something I don't remember doing. Dumbledore studied him over his half-moon spectacles. You're not what I expected, Harry. Good. Predictability is a tactical disadvantage. A startled laugh escaped the old wizard. Indeed it is. Well, I look forward to seeing what sort of student you become. Harry's first week at Hogwarts was a study in contrasts. In charms and transfiguration, his practiced wandless abilities gave him a foundation the professors found surprising. In potions, Snape seemed determined to catch him unprepared. Potter, Snape had barked in their first lesson. What would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood? Draught of living death, sir, Harry answered promptly. A powerful sleeping potion. Snape's eyes narrowed. Where would you look if I told you to find a bezoar? The stomach of a goat. It will save you from most poisons. What is the difference between monkshood and wolfsbane? They're the same plant, also called aconite. Each correct answer seemed to irritate Snape further. After class, Harry lingered, applying a technique Bruce had taught him, addressing conflicts directly when strategic. Professor, Harry said quietly after the other students left, have I done something to offend you? Snape looked startled by the direct approach. Your very existence is offensive, Potter. Wayne Potter, Harry corrected calmly. And that doesn't answer my question. You're precisely like your father, arrogant, entitled, interesting conclusion since I never met him and you've known me for precisely one class period. Harry maintained eye contact. I was raised by Bruce Wayne. Whatever issues you had with my father, they have nothing to do with me. Snape's face contorted. Get out. Harry nodded and turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, Professor, I'm here to learn. From everyone, including you. The professor said nothing, but Harry noticed the slight shift in his expression, reassessment. Bruce would call it progress. In defense against the dark arts, Harry immediately noticed something off about Professor Quirrell. The stuttering seemed inconsistent, worse when discussing certain topics, almost disappearing during casual conversation. His eyes sometimes unfocused as if listening to something no one else could hear. Harry documented these observations in his enchanted journal, which transmitted copies to Bruce. Their first secure communication came through Harry's watch that weekend. Interesting observations on Quirrell, Bruce's voice came through the tiny speaker as Harry sat alone by the lake. Keep monitoring him. What about the Philosopher's Stone lead? Harry had heard Hagrid mentioning a mysterious package moved from Gringotts to Hogwarts, right before news broke of an attempted vault robbery at the bank. Third-floor corridor is guarded by a three-headed dog, Harry reported. Heard Hagrid let slip it's guarding something for Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel. Research suggests Flamel is the creator of the Philosopher's Stone, grants immortality and turns metal to gold. Motive for theft, Bruce noted. Any suspects? Quirrell keeps appearing near the corridor. Snape too, but differently, more like he's monitoring rather than attempting access. Trust your instincts, but gather evidence, Bruce advised. How are you integrating? Made 2 potential allies, Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger. Different skills, complementary personalities. Good. Maintain your cover while investigating. I'll continue background checks on the professors. Harry recruited Ron and Hermione into his investigation without revealing his full methods. He presented it as curiosity about the Forbidden Corridor, allowing Hermione's research skills and Ron's wizarding knowledge to complement his detective work. The dog standing on a trapdoor, Harry explained after a close encounter with the beast. It's guarding something. But what? Ron wondered. Hermione was making connections. Remember that break-in at Gringotts? The Daily Prophet said nothing was taken because the vault had been emptied earlier that day. What if whatever was in that vault is what the dog's guarding? Harry nodded approvingly. Excellent deduction. One evening in the library, as they researched Nicholas Flamel, Hermione asked the question Harry had been anticipating. Harry, where did you learn to think like this? You approach everything like a puzzle to solve. My guardian taught me, Harry replied carefully. Bruce believes in being observant, analytical. The way you organized our research, created that evidence board in the unused classroom. Hermione leaned forward. It's not just studying. It's like you're conducting an investigation. Harry met her gaze. She was too observant to deflect indefinitely. Bruce is a detective, of sorts. He trained me in his methods. Wicked, Ron whispered. Like those Muggle police shows my dad watches sometimes. Something like that, Harry smiled. Hermione wasn't satisfied. There's more you're not telling us. Yes, Harry acknowledged. And I will. But not yet. Halloween brought a troll into Hogwarts, and cemented their friendship. When Harry heard the creature was loose, he immediately asked, "Who's missing?" Ron looked confused, but Harry was already scanning the Great Hall. Hermione, she's not here. I heard she was crying in the girls' bathroom after charms. They slipped away from the prefects, Harry tracking the troll through sounds and smell, techniques Bruce had taught him for hunting in Gotham's sewers. Ugh, that reeks, Ron complained as they followed the putrid odor. It's heading for the bathroom Hermione's in, Harry realized, breaking into a run. They arrived to find the troll cornering Hermione, who was frozen in terror against the wall. Harry assessed the situation instantly, 12-foot troll, narrow space, one terrified civilian, limited magical options. Ron, distracted, Harry commanded. Hermione, move toward the door when it turns. Ron lobbed a broken pipe at the troll's head while Harry vaulted onto a sink, then leapt onto the creature's back when it turned. The troll bellowed, thrashing to dislodge him. Its club, target its club. Harry shouted to Ron while clinging to the troll's neck. Ron pulled out his wand. Wingardium Leviosa. The club floated from the troll's hand, hovered momentarily, then dropped directly onto its head. The troll swayed, then collapsed with Harry rolling clear at the last second. Are you insane? Hermione demanded once she found her voice. You could have been killed. Calculated risk, Harry replied, dusting himself off. The troll's limited intelligence and poor coordination gave us advantages despite its size. Professors McGonagall, Snape, and Quirrell burst in, taking in the scene with varying degrees of shock. What on earth were you thinking? McGonagall demanded. Before Harry could answer, Hermione stepped forward. It was my fault, Professor. I went looking for the troll. I've read about them and thought I could handle it. If Harry and Ron hadn't found me, I'd be dead. Harry noticed Snape's suspicious glance and Quirrell's unusual calm amid the chaos. More importantly, he saw something shift in Hermione, a willingness to bend rules for something she believed in. From that moment, the three were inseparable. As McGonagall often remarked to other professors, where you find one, you'll find all three, usually in places they shouldn't be. During Christmas break, Harry returned to Gotham. Bruce had arranged a portkey through magical contacts, one of many connections he'd established since learning of the wizarding world. "Your reports have been thorough," Bruce commented as they descended into the Batcave. "The Philosopher's Stone situation concerns me." "Someone's definitely after it," Harry agreed. "Quirrell's behavior is increasingly suspicious." "You believe Quirrell, not Snape, is the primary threat?" Harry nodded. "Snape's antagonistic but consistent. Quirrell's inconsistent, his stutter vanishes when he thinks no one's listening. And I've noticed he talks to himself when alone." Bruce pulled up files on the Batcomputer. "I've been investigating magical activity in Gotham while you've been away. Energy signatures similar to what we recorded during the Blackwood incident." "Blackwood's back?" Harry leaned forward. "Not directly. But someone's using magical artifacts." Bruce showed security footage of a museum theft, display cases opening without being touched, guards collapsing without apparent cause. "Imperious curse, maybe," Harry suggested. "Mind control. Highly illegal." The target was specific, an ancient Egyptian scarab beetle, reportedly with protective enchantments. Harry frowned. "That doesn't match Blackwood's technology focus." "No," Bruce agreed. "And the method was different too. Less precise. More chaotic. Magical items in the wrong hands could be devastating," Harry noted. "Especially in Gotham. Which is why I need your expertise." Bruce pulled up another file. "Train with me tonight. Tomorrow we investigate." Harry grinned. It felt good to be back in action. Batman and Harry, in a specialized stealth suit Bruce had designed for him, tracked magical residue through Gotham's warehouse district. Harry had a wand now, useful for focused spell work, but still practiced wandless magic for situations requiring subtlety. "Energy signature is strongest here," Batman indicated an abandoned toy factory. "Approach with caution." They entered through a skylight, descending silently into shadows. The factory floor had been transformed into a bizarre workshop, magical artifacts displayed alongside chemistry equipment. Ancient runes were painted on the walls in what looked disturbingly like blood. "Someone's combining magical theory with something else," Harry whispered. A high-pitched giggle echoed through the factory. Well. Batsy brought a little friend to my playdate." The Joker stepped from behind a conveyor belt, twirling the stolen scarab between his fingers. His trademark purple suit was now adorned with mystical symbols. "Joker," Batman growled. "What are you doing with magical artifacts?" "Magical? Is that what these trinkets are?" The Joker's grin widened impossibly. "Here I thought they were just extraordinarily fun toys. This little bug, for instance," he held up the scarab, "makes people tell the truth. Isn't that hilarious? I had the museum director confess to all sorts of naughty little secrets before his heart gave out from the strain." Harry tensed. The scarab was a truth compulsion artifact, dangerous enough in normal circumstances, catastrophic in the Joker's hands. "But you're not here for my comedy routine," Joker continued. "You're wondering how little old non-magical me got my hands on these goodies." He giggled. "Let's just say I have a new friend who appreciates my sense of humor and my Gotham expertise." "Blackwood," Batman concluded. "Ooh, spoilers. You're no fun, Batsy." The Joker pressed the scarab to his palm. It glowed ominously. "Now, let's play a game of truth or consequences." A blast of energy erupted from the scarab, enveloping the room. Harry instinctively raised a magical shield, protecting himself and Batman. "Impressive." Joker cackled. "The little one has tricks too." This is getting better and better. Batman threw a batarang, knocking the scarab from Joker's hand. The Clown Prince didn't seem concerned, pulling out a different artifact, a small mirror that shimmered unnaturally. "This one's my favorite," Joker whispered conspiratorially. "It doesn't just show reflections, it shows fears." He pointed the mirror at them. Harry felt a cold dread wash over him as images began forming in the air: his parents' murder, Bruce dead, Gotham in flames. Batman visibly tensed beside him. "Harry," Batman said sharply, "disruption pattern Delta." Harry nodded, understanding immediately. As Batman threw smoke pellets, Harry focused his magic on the mirror itself, not fighting its power but overloading it with conflicting emotions, not just fear, but joy, anger, hope. The mirror cracked with a sound like a scream, its magic backfiring. The Joker dropped it with a yelp as nightmare images surrounded him instead. "No fair." He pouted, backing away from his own manifestations. "You're cheating." Batman moved through the smoke, aiming to apprehend the Joker, but the clown had more surprises. He threw down a handful of what looked like ordinary marbles. When they hit the floor, they expanded into bubbles that trapped anything they touched. Containment spheres, Harry recognized from his magical studies. "Don't let them touch you." The Joker cackled as they dodged the magical traps. "Dance, Batsy, dance. Isn't magic wonderful? So unpredictable. So chaotic." Harry spotted a pattern in the chaos, magical items arranged in specific positions around the factory, forming a ritual circle. In the center, a familiar device was under construction. "Batman!" Harry called. "He's building a portal, like Blackwood's." "Clever boy." Joker applauded. "Gold star for the junior detective." "Yes, my new friend is very interested in doorways between worlds. Imagine the possibilities." Joker fish were just the beginning, wait till you see Joker dragons. Batman had worked his way behind the Joker during this monologue. "It ends now." The Joker spun, slashing with a knife that glowed with unnatural light. "Magical blade, Batsy. One cut and your insides become outsides." Harry focused on the portal device, recognizing runes similar to those Blackwood had used. He began systematically disrupting them, altering their meanings with careful magical adjustments. Batman and Joker fought across the factory floor, Batman avoiding the enchanted blade while landing precise strikes. The Joker, despite his apparent madness, moved with dangerous unpredictability. "Your little helper is messing with my new toy," Joker complained, noticing Harry's work. "That's rude." He threw another artifact, a small box that opened in midair, releasing what looked like living shadows that flew toward Harry. Harry recognized them as minor demons, conjured through dark magic. "Lumos Maxima." Harry called, creating a burst of pure light that drove the shadow creatures back. He followed with a containment spell Bruce had helped him practice, trapping the entities in a glowing magical circle. The Joker looked genuinely impressed. Well. The sidekick has bite." Blackwood didn't mention Batman had a magical protege. "I'm not a sidekick," Harry replied, continuing to dismantle the portal. "I'm a detective. A detective with a wand. How precious." The Joker laughed, then suddenly lunged toward the partially dismantled portal. "But you're too late. The fun is just beginning." He slammed his hand onto the control panel. The remaining runes glowed bright red as the machine hummed to life. "No!" Harry shouted, recognizing what was happening. "The safety protocols are gone, it's going to collapse." Batman grabbed Harry and fired his grapnel gun toward the skylight. "We need to evacuate. Now." "But the Joker will be caught in his own trap if he doesn't leave." The Joker seemed unconcerned by the destabilizing portal, watching with glee as reality warped around it. Beautiful chaos. Beautiful. As Batman and Harry escaped through the roof, magical energy erupted from the factory. The building imploded, collapsing inward with a thunderous roar. From a safe distance, they watched emergency services respond to the destruction. No sign of the Joker, Batman noted grimly. He had another exit plan, Harry concluded. Probably magical transportation. Blackwood is supplying him with artifacts, Batman said. The question is why? What does Blackwood gain from the Joker's chaos? Harry thought of the disrupted portal. A distraction, maybe. Or a test of magical interactions with Gotham's unique energy. Batman nodded. Either way, they're planning something bigger. We need to be prepared. Returning to Hogwarts after the holiday, Harry carried new concerns. The threat in Gotham connected to the wizarding world added urgency to his investigations at school. He shared carefully edited versions of his discoveries with Ron and Hermione, who had remained at Hogwarts over the break. So you know who might be after the Philosopher's Stone to regain a body? Ron whispered as they huddled in the library. It fits the evidence, Harry confirmed. Quirrell's behavior, the break-in timing, the level of security. Voldemort needs the stone's immortality properties. Hermione flinched at the name but pressed on. But how would you know who'd be working through Professor Quirrell? Possession, Harry said grimly. It explains the personality shifts, the talking to himself, the headache students report when he looks directly at them. Ron paled. Blimey, that's dark. We need more evidence, Hermione insisted. This is a serious accusation. Harry nodded. That's why we're going to follow him tonight. Under Harry's invisibility cloak, a Christmas gift delivered anonymously but which Bruce had verified belonged to Harry's father, they tracked Quirrell to the third-floor corridor. Hidden in shadows, they watched him attempt to bypass the three-headed dog. He's definitely trying to get past Fluffy, Ron whispered. Fluffy? Harry raised an eyebrow. Hagrid named it. They followed at a safe distance as Quirrell retreated, muttering angrily to himself, or to someone else. No, Master, I cannot yet bypass the beast. Yes, I understand the urgency. The boy suspects nothing. Harry exchanged meaningful glances with his friends. Master could only mean one thing. Over the following weeks, they pieced together the stone's protections, not just the three-headed dog, but a series of obstacles created by different professors. Harry documented everything in his journal, updating Bruce regularly. Impressive security analysis, Bruce commented during their next communication. The magical challenges sound formidable. But not impenetrable, Harry noted. Each challenge has a logical solution. Quirrell, or Voldemort, will eventually figure them out. What's your plan? Monitor Quirrell, gather definitive evidence of Voldemort's possession, then alert Dumbledore. Bruce was silent for a moment. Be careful, Harry. This isn't like our Gotham cases. Voldemort specifically targeted your family. I know. That's why I need to stop him. As the school year progressed, the Philosopher's Stone wasn't Harry's only investigation. He observed the complex social dynamics of Hogwarts, noting how pureblood ideology influenced even casual interactions. Draco Malfoy, a Slytherin student who tried and failed to befriend Harry early on, became an interesting study in privilege and prejudice. Harry neither antagonized nor befriended him, instead watching how Malfoy operated within Slytherin's hierarchy. You watch people like they're specimens, Hermione observed one day. I observe, Harry corrected. Understanding people's motivations helps predict their actions. Is that what your guardian taught you? Harry nodded. Bruce believes knowledge is power. The more you know about someone, the better prepared you are. That sounds calculating, Hermione said hesitantly. It is. But calculation isn't inherently cold. It can protect people you care about. Hermione considered this. Your guardian sounds unusual. He is, Harry smiled slightly. In the best way. As they grew closer, Harry found himself wanting to share more with Hermione. Her analytical mind complemented his detective training, and her different perspective often revealed angles he'd missed. One night in the common room, working late on homework while Ron had already gone to bed, Harry made a decision. "Hermione, what I'm about to tell you can't go beyond us. Not even Ron can know yet." She looked up, surprised but serious. "I promise. My guardian isn't just any detective. He's Batman." Hermione's eyes widened. "Batman? The vigilante from Gotham City?" "But that's the truth," Harry said firmly. "He found me when I was 4, being abused by the Dursleys. He's been training me ever since, not just in magic, but in detective work, observation, deduction." "That explains so much," Hermione whispered. "Your approach to problems, the way you think. I want you to meet him. Properly, I mean. During summer break." Hermione looked stunned. "You want me to meet Batman? And see the Batcave," Harry added with a small smile. "I think you'd appreciate his research methods." Yes, of course," she stammered. "But why tell me and not Ron? Ron's great, but he sometimes speaks before thinking. And this secret isn't just mine to protect." Hermione nodded solemnly. "I understand. Thank you for trusting me." From that moment, their friendship deepened. Hermione helped Harry connect wizarding lore with Batman's scientific approach, creating innovative combinations neither world had considered. As the school year neared its end, the Philosopher's Stone situation reached a critical point. Dumbledore was called away from the school on urgent ministry business, too convenient to be coincidence. Tonight, Harry told Ron and Hermione. Quirrell will make his move tonight. They prepared thoroughly, Harry applying Bruce's methodical approach. Each obstacle has a countermeasure. The dog falls asleep with music. Devil's snare retreats from light and warmth. The flying keys require a seeker's precision. The chess set demands strategic sacrifice. Logic solves the potion riddle. You make it sound like a training exercise, Ron remarked. Every challenge is, Harry replied. Bruce would say the difference between success and failure is preparation. That night, they slipped past Fluffy with a charmed flute, navigated the devil's snare, captured the correct flying key, won the violent chess match, with Ron making a brave sacrifice, and solved the logic puzzle guarding the final chamber. Only one person can go through, Hermione said, holding the small bottle of potion that would grant passage through the magical flames. It should be me, Harry said firmly. I've faced worse. Harry, this is you know who we're talking about, Ron argued from where he was recovering from the chess queen's blow. I know exactly who it is, Harry replied. And I'm not facing him unprepared. Hermione hugged him fiercely. Be careful. Harry drank the potion and stepped through the flames into the final chamber. There stood Quirrell, examining the mirror of Eriste, a magical mirror Harry had discovered earlier in the year, which showed one's deepest desire. I knew you'd come, Potter, Quirrell said without turning, his voice steady without any trace of a stutter. Professor Quirrell, Harry replied calmly, though his hand tightened around his wand. Or should I say, Voldemort? Quirrell turned, smiling coldly. Clever boy. Smarter than your father was. My father didn't have Batman's training, Harry replied, circling carefully to maintain distance. Ah yes, the Muggle vigilante who took you in. An interesting guardian choice. The Dark Lord has been most curious about this, unusual upbringing. I imagine he would be, Harry kept his voice steady, applying Bruce's lessons on confrontation tactics. Since it prevented him from finding a weak, unprepared child. Quirrell's face contorted with anger. You are still a child, facing powers you cannot comprehend. The Dark Lord sees everything, knows everything. Then he knows he won't get the stone tonight. The stone is in this mirror, and you're going to help me get it. Quirrell grabbed Harry's arm, dragging him before the mirror of Eriste. What do you see? Harry looked into the mirror, seeing himself drop the stone into his pocket. Simultaneously, he felt the real stone actually appear in his pocket. The mirror had somehow given it to him. "I see myself defeating Voldemort," Harry lied smoothly, using misdirection tactics Bruce had taught him. "He lies," came a high, cold voice that seemed to emanate from Quirrell himself. "Let me speak to him, face to face." Quirrell unwrapped his turban, revealing a horrific sight on the back of his head, another face, chalk-white with glaring red eyes and slits for nostrils. "Harry Potter," Voldemort whispered. "See what I have become. Mere shadow and vapor, forced to share another's body. But once I have the elixir of life, I can create a body of my own." Harry maintained his composure despite the grotesque sight. "That's your plan? Possession and theft. Not very innovative." Voldemort's eyes narrowed. "You speak bravely for a child surrounded by enemies, with no Batman to save you. Batman taught me I don't always need saving." "Touching," Voldemort hissed. "But futile. Give me the stone, Harry Potter." "I don't have it," Harry lied again. "Liar." Voldemort shrieked. "Seize him." Quirrell lunged forward. Harry dodged, applying the hand-to-hand combat techniques Bruce had drilled into him. But as Quirrell's fingers grazed Harry's skin, the professor screamed in agony, pulling back to reveal blistered flesh. "Master, I cannot touch him." Quirrell wailed. "Then kill him, fool," Voldemort commanded. Quirrell raised his wand. Avada, Harry didn't wait for the killing curse to complete. He launched himself forward, grabbing Quirrell's face with both hands. The pain in his scar was blinding, but Quirrell's screams were louder as his skin burned and cracked under Harry's touch. "Kill him! Kill him!" Voldemort shrieked. But Quirrell was disintegrating under Harry's touch. As consciousness began to fade from the pain, Harry glimpsed a dark shadow rising from Quirrell's collapsing body, Voldemort's essence, fleeing without its host. Harry fell into darkness, the stone clutched tightly in his hand. He woke in the hospital wing with Dumbledore beside his bed. "Good afternoon, Harry," the headmaster said kindly. "The stone," Harry said immediately, trying to sit up, "is safe. Nicholas Flamel and I have decided it's best destroyed." Harry processed this. "And Voldemort?" "Gone, for now. Without a body or the stone, he must seek other means to return." Harry nodded, having expected this answer. "He'll try again." "Yes, I'm afraid he will," Dumbledore agreed, studying Harry. "You handled yourself remarkably well for a first-year student. Your guardian's training, I presume. Bruce believes in being prepared." "Indeed." Dumbledore's eyes twinkled. "The Ministry of Magic has expressed concerns about your unique upbringing." Harry's eyes narrowed slightly. "What kind of concerns?" "They worry about a Muggle having such influence over the boy who lived. Particularly one with Batman's reputation." "Bruce saved me when the wizarding world left me with abusers," Harry said firmly. "His methods may be unconventional, but they're effective." "I'm beginning to see that." Dumbledore stroked his beard thoughtfully. "You're not the child I expected to meet when you arrived at Hogwarts, Harry." "Good," Harry replied, echoing his earlier conversation with the headmaster. "As Bruce says, predictability is a tactical disadvantage," Dumbledore finished with a small smile. "Yes, I remember. Rest now, Harry. You've earned it." After Dumbledore left, Harry activated his comm watch. Bruce. Mission accomplished. Summer brought new freedoms and new investigations. Bruce had arranged for Hermione to visit Wayne Manor, officially for a summer study program her parents were delighted she'd been selected for. Her first glimpse of the Batcave left her speechless, a rare occurrence. "This is incredible," she finally managed, taking in the massive computer, the laboratory equipment, the training areas. "Welcome to my world," Harry said proudly. "Bruce," cowl pulled back but still in the bat suit after an early patrol, extended his hand. "Miss Granger. Harry speaks highly of your analytical skills." Hermione shook his hand, visibly awed. "Thank you for having me, Mr. Wayne. Or should I say? Bruce is fine," he replied with a slight smile. "Harry tells me you've been instrumental in his investigations at Hogwarts." "We work well together," Hermione said, regaining her confidence. "Harry approaches problems differently than most wizards." "Show her the magical analysis lab," Harry suggested. Bruce led them to a section of the cave where magical artifacts were displayed alongside scientific instruments. "I've been documenting the interaction between magic and technology. Cataloging energy signatures, testing limitations." Hermione moved from display to display, asking increasingly technical questions that Bruce answered precisely. Harry watched with satisfaction as his two worlds merged through the people who mattered most to him. "You've created reference materials more detailed than anything in the Hogwarts library," Hermione marveled, examining Bruce's meticulous documentation. "Knowledge requires organization to be useful," Bruce replied. "Especially when dealing with unfamiliar forces." Later, as they worked together to analyze magical samples Harry had collected from Hogwarts, Hermione asked, "Does it bother you? Having a foot in both worlds but not fully belonging to either?" Harry considered the question. "Sometimes. But Bruce says boundaries are where innovation happens, where different perspectives create new solutions." "He's quite different from how the papers describe Batman," she observed. "Most people only see what he wants them to see. And us? Do we see the real Bruce Wayne?" Harry smiled. "We see more than most." Their summer research proved valuable when they returned to Hogwarts for their second year. Strange occurrences began immediately, a petrified cat, writing on the wall claiming, "The Chamber of Secrets has been opened." Another mystery, Ron groaned as they examined the scene. "Why can't we have a normal school year?" "Normal is overrated," Harry replied, already documenting the evidence. "Look at the water on the floor, the reflection pattern in that window. The culprit came from that direction." Hermione nodded, falling into the investigative rhythm they'd perfected over the summer. "The writing is high on the wall, someone tall, or levitating. And the cat's position suggests it saw something directly before being petrified," Harry added. Ron shook his head. "You two are scary sometimes, you know that." As more students were petrified, Harry applied Batman's methodology, creating an evidence wall in an unused classroom, mapping attack locations, analyzing commonalities among victims. "They all encountered water before being petrified," Harry noted. "Reflections matter somehow." When Harry himself began hearing a voice in the walls, a voice only he could hear, the investigation took a personal turn. Parseltongue, Hermione concluded after research. The ability to speak to snakes. It's incredibly rare. And considered a dark talent, Ron added nervously. It's just a skill, Harry countered, applying Bruce's pragmatic view of abilities. Morality depends on how it's used. The mystery deepened when Harry discovered a diary that responded to written messages, belonging to a former student named Tom Riddle who claimed to know about the Chamber of Secrets. "I don't trust it," Harry told his friends after testing the diary. "Something feels wrong about magic that thinks for itself." His suspicions were confirmed when the diary attempted to show him a memory of Hagrid supposedly opening the chamber 50 years ago. "It's trying to mislead us," Harry concluded. Hagrid loves creatures, but he wouldn't set something loose to attack students. Harry sent the diary to Bruce for analysis, explaining his concerns in a detailed report. Bruce's response came quickly: magical analysis shows soul fragment embedded in the diary. Extremely dark magic. Do not interact further. Investigating historical records of Tom Riddle. The breakthrough came when Hermione was petrified after figuring out the monster's identity. Harry found her clenched fist holding a library page about basilisks, giant serpents that killed with their gaze, though indirect sight, through reflections, merely petrified. "Pipes," Harry realized, seeing Hermione's scribbled note. It's moving through the plumbing. When Ron's sister Ginny was taken into the chamber itself, with another wall message claiming her body would lie in the chamber forever, Harry knew they'd run out of time. I know where the entrance is, he told Ron. The girls' bathroom where we found the first message. The ghost there, moaning Myrtle, she was the victim 50 years ago. With reluctant Professor Lockhart in tow, Harry having exposed the defense teacher's fraudulent claims, they located the chamber entrance. When Lockhart attempted to obliviate them and escape, Harry disarmed him with a swift move Bruce had taught him. Expelliarmus isn't the only way to disarm someone, Harry noted at Ron's surprised expression. In the chamber, they found Ginny unconscious beside a handsome teenage boy who was becoming more solid as they watched. Tom Riddle, Harry identified immediately. Or should I say, Lord Voldemort. The boy's eyes widened slightly. How did you know? Detective work, Harry replied. Anagrams are basic cryptography. I am Lord Voldemort from Tom Marvolo Riddle. Plus, the diary's magical signature matches residue from Quirrell's possession. Tom, Voldemort, looked genuinely surprised. You're not what I expected, Harry Potter. I get that a lot. Harry kept his wand ready, positioning himself between Riddle and Ginny. You're draining her life to resurrect yourself. Very good, Riddle smiled coldly. Her soul poured into my diary, and mine began pouring into her. Soon, I will be fully restored, and little Ginny Weasley will be dead. Not happening. Harry's eyes tracked movement behind Riddle, the massive basilisk emerging from a statue's mouth. Let's match the power of Lord Voldemort, heir of Slytherin, against the famous Harry Potter, Riddle hissed, before commanding the basilisk in Parseltongue. Harry closed his eyes as the giant serpent lunged, relying on Bruce's training to sense movement through sound and air currents. He dodged, pulling Ron with him. Keep your eyes closed, Harry instructed. Track it by sound. The battle that followed tested everything Batman had taught him, fighting without relying on sight, using the environment strategically, identifying weaknesses in a seemingly invulnerable opponent. When Fawkes, Dumbledore's Phoenix, arrived with the Sorting Hat, Harry recognized the opportunity. The bird blinded the basilisk, allowing Harry to look safely. From the Sorting Hat emerged a gleaming silver sword. The Sword of Gryffindor, Riddle identified with contempt. It won't save you. But Harry had been training in basic swordplay with Bruce. All detectives should understand weapon mechanics, his guardian had insisted. He wasn't an expert, but he understood leverage and anatomy. As the basilisk struck, Harry drove the sword up through the roof of its mouth, into its brain. A fang sank into his arm in the process, injecting deadly venom. You're dying, Potter, Riddle laughed as Harry staggered back, the basilisk collapsing dead. And I'm growing stronger. Through pain-blurred vision, Harry saw the diary on the chamber floor. With last reserves of strength, he grabbed the basilisk fang from his arm and plunged it into the diary. Riddle screamed as ink poured like blood from the pierced book. His form writhed, cracked, and shattered into nothingness. Fawkes landed beside Harry, tears falling onto his wound. The pain receded as the Phoenix's healing tears counteracted the venom. Thanks, Harry whispered, stroking the magnificent bird's feathers. Batman had taught him that having allies, even unexpected ones, often made the difference between success and failure. That summer, as Harry recovered at Wayne Manor, Bruce brought concerning news. The Ministry's been in contact, he said one evening in the cave. They're increasingly uncomfortable with our arrangement. Harry looked up from the magical detector he was calibrating. Because you're a Muggle? Or because you're Batman? Both. Minister Fudge hinted that the boy who lived should have a more conventional, wizarding upbringing. Not happening, Harry said firmly. Bruce nodded. I've made that clear. But it signals growing political interest in controlling your narrative. Control is what they're after, Harry agreed. Not my welfare. Be prepared for more interference this year. Document everything. Harry smiled slightly. Always. Their worst expectations were confirmed when escaped prisoner Sirius Black, reportedly one of Voldemort's followers, was announced to be hunting Harry. The Ministry placed Dementors, soul-sucking prison guards, around Hogwarts. "They're using Black as an excuse to monitor you," Bruce concluded during their secure communication. "The security measures seem excessive for one wizard, no matter how dangerous." The Dementors proved particularly problematic for Harry. Their presence forced him to relive his worst memories, not just his parents' murder, which he barely recalled, but the Dursleys' abuse and every dangerous situation he'd faced. Professor Lupin, the new defense against the dark arts teacher, offered to teach Harry the Patronus charm as protection. "It requires a powerfully happy memory," Lupin explained during their first lesson. Harry nodded. "I have several." He thought of Bruce finding him at the Dursleys, of his first successful case with Batman, of solving the Chamber of Secrets mystery with his friends. The memories weren't just happy, they represented triumph over adversity, a core part of how Bruce had taught him to frame his experiences. Expecto Patronum. A silver shape burst from Harry's wand, not just mist, but a fully formed creature. A bat. Lupin looked startled. "A corporeal Patronus on your first try, impressive. Though I admit, I expected your father's form." James produced a stag. "I'm not my father," Harry said simply. As the year progressed, Harry investigated Sirius Black's history, discovering disturbing inconsistencies. Black had supposedly betrayed Harry's parents to Voldemort, but the evidence seemed circumstantial at best. "He never received a trial," Harry reported to Bruce. "Just immediate imprisonment. Classic rush to judgment during wartime," Bruce noted. "What else troubles you about the official story?" "Black was my father's best friend. Betrayal makes no psychological sense based on earlier behavior patterns. And the timing of events the night of his arrest doesn't add up." Bruce nodded approvingly. "Trust your instincts. Investigate further." The truth emerged dramatically when Harry, Ron, and Hermione discovered Peter Pettigrew, supposedly killed by Black, hiding as Ron's pet rat. The confrontation in the Shrieking Shack revealed Black's innocence and Pettigrew's betrayal. "He was their secret keeper," Sirius explained fervently. "Not me. I suggested the switch, thought it would be the perfect bluff." "Who would suspect Peter?" Harry studied his godfather carefully. Batman had taught him to read people, and everything about Black's body language, eye contact, and emotional patterns suggested truth. "I believe you," Harry said finally. "And will prove your innocence." But Pettigrew escaped during the chaos of a full moon transformation, revealing Professor Lupin as a werewolf, and a Dementor attack. Harry saved Sirius using a time-turner borrowed from Hermione and his now powerful Patronus. As Sirius prepared to flee on a hippogriff, he looked at Harry with wonder. "You're so like your father in appearance, but there's something different about you." "Something." "Batman," Harry supplied with a small smile. "He raised me." Sirius barked a laugh. James would have found that hilarious, and perfect. The vigilante raising his son. His expression grew serious. "He's done well by you, Harry. Better than I could have." "You'll be cleared eventually," Harry promised. "Bruce is already working on it." "Bruce, is it?" Sirius grinned. "On first-name terms with the Batman. My godson, the wizard detective." He sobered. "Be careful, Harry. The Ministry isn't your friend right now." "I know. Politics is just another kind of crime scene." Harry's fourth year at Hogwarts brought the Triwizard Tournament and a new defense teacher, Exor Alaster, Mad-Eyed Moody. From the beginning, Harry's detective senses were alert. "Something's off about Moody," he told Hermione. "His behavioral patterns don't match his reputation." Before they could investigate further, Harry's name mysteriously emerged from the Goblet of Fire, forcing him to compete in a tournament meant for students 3 years older. "It's a setup," Bruce said during their emergency communication. Someone wants you in that tournament badly enough to confound a powerful magical artifact. Agreed, Harry replied. But why? The tasks are life-threatening. It could be an elaborate assassination attempt. Harry nodded. Or a plot requiring my presence at specific locations under specific circumstances. I'll document everything. The first task, facing a dragon, tested Harry's tactical planning. Rather than relying solely on flying skills as others might expect, Harry combined a disillusionment charm with targeted sensory distraction. Dragons rely heavily on smell and heat detection, he explained afterward to his impressed friends. Visual camouflage alone wouldn't work. For the second task, rescuing Ron from mere people in the lake, Harry created breathing apparatus inspired by Batman's underwater gear, combined with warming charms and propulsion spells. The wizarding approach would be the bubblehead charm, Hermione noted as they designed it. This is better. Hybrid approaches usually are, Harry agreed. That's why Bruce cross-trains in so many disciplines. Throughout the tournament, Harry continued investigating Moody's suspicious behavior, the teacher's flask that never seemed to empty, his unusual knowledge of dark magic, his focused interest in Harry's progress. The final piece clicked when Harry accessed the Marauder's map, a magical document showing everyone's location at Hogwarts, and noticed Bartemius Crouch in Moody's office while the teacher was elsewhere. Polyjuice potion, Harry realized, recalling the identity-changing potion they'd encountered in second year. Someone's impersonating Moody. Before he could act on this discovery, the final task arrived, a maze containing the Triwizard Cup. Harry navigated it methodically, helping fellow champion Cedric Diggory along the way. We'll take it together, Cedric suggested when they reached the cup simultaneously. A Hogwarts victory either way. Harry agreed, but as they grasped the cup, it transported them to a graveyard miles from Hogwarts. It's a portkey, Harry warned, instantly alert. Wand ready. Before Cedric could react, a voice commanded, kill the spare. Avada Kedavra. Harry tackled Cedric, both narrowly avoiding the killing curse. Run! Harry shouted. Apparate if you can. Cedric hesitated, torn between escaping and helping. I can't leave you, go for help. Harry insisted, deflecting another spell. Now. As Cedric disappeared with a crack of apparition, Harry faced Peter Pettigrew carrying a small, deformed creature, Voldemort in a temporary body. Brave, Potter, Voldemort's high voice rasped. But futile. You will still serve our purpose. Harry fought expertly, applying every combat technique Bruce had taught him, but was ultimately restrained against a tombstone. Pettigrew performed a dark ritual, bone of father, flesh of servant, blood of enemy forcibly taken, to restore Voldemort's body. As the dark wizard rose from the cauldron, reborn in a pale, snake-like form, Harry worked methodically to free himself. Batman's lessons on restraint escapes proved invaluable. Harry Potter, Voldemort hissed, approaching. The boy who lived. How disappointed I was to hear of your unusual upbringing. The great wizard savior, raised by a Muggle vigilante. Harry met his gaze steadily. Disappointed? Or scared? Voldemort's lipless mouth twisted. You think Batman's methods make you strong? They make you predictable. A detective seeks patterns, but I defy patterns, Harry Potter. I am chaos incarnate. You sound like the Joker, Harry replied. He was wrong too. Voldemort's eyes narrowed. Your insolence will end tonight. But first, I'll demonstrate my power. I'll summon my Death Eaters, then kill you properly, with an audience worthy of the moment. As Voldemort touched his mark on Pettigrew's arm, summoning his followers, Harry freed himself from the loosened ropes. But rather than attempting immediate escape, he observed and recorded everything. The names Voldemort called as masked figures appeared, the hierarchies evident in their positioning, the details of Voldemort's new form. Evidence gathering, Bruce would call it. Critical intelligence for the coming conflict. When Voldemort finally turned his attention back to Harry, intending to duel, Harry was prepared. Not to win, even he recognized the power disparity, but to survive and escape with crucial information. First, we bow, Voldemort instructed mockingly. I don't bow to terrorists, Harry replied, channeling Batman's unflinching resolve. What followed was not the duel Voldemort expected. Harry fought not like a wizard, but like Batman, using environment, misdirection, and strategic retreat. When their spells connected, creating a bizarre priori incantatem effect that manifested echoes of Voldemort's victims, Harry used the distraction to reach the portkey. He returned to Hogwarts with intelligence more valuable than victory, confirmation of Voldemort's return, identification of key Death Eaters, and analysis of the Dark Wizard's magical capabilities. Cedric had successfully raised the alarm. Dumbledore and several professors were waiting, along with ministry officials including Cornelius Fudge. He's back, Harry reported concisely. Voldemort has returned. Corporeal form, restored through dark magic ritual using my blood. Fudge spluttered in denial. Preposterous. The boy is confused, obviously traumatized. I'm neither confused nor traumatized, Harry countered coldly. I can provide memories for a pensieve if necessary. I can identify the Death Eaters present by name and magical signature. That won't be necessary, came a growling voice. The real Alastor Moody limped forward, having been rescued from imprisonment. The impostor has confessed under Veritaserum. Barty Crouch Jr., believed dead in Azkaban. Dumbledore stepped forward. Cornelius, you must act quickly. Alert the Aurors, secure Azkaban, I will do no such thing. Fudge blustered. This is fear-mongering of the worst kind. Harry exchanged glances with Dumbledore, recognizing political denial when he saw it. Bruce had warned him about leaders who preferred comfortable lies to uncomfortable truths. Later, in the hospital wing, Harry transmitted everything to Bruce. The Ministry's denying it all, Harry concluded. Fudge refuses to believe Voldemort's back. Political expediency, Bruce noted grimly. We'll need to operate independently, prepare without government support. Like Gotham, Harry observed. Exactly like Gotham. The summer before Harry's 5th year brought significant developments. Bruce intensified Harry's training, adding more advanced combat techniques and strategic planning for magical warfare. Voldemort will move differently than our usual opponents, Bruce explained during a session in the Batcave. He combines magical power with terrorist tactics. We need to prepare accordingly. They were interrupted by Alfred. Master Bruce, there's been an incident in Little Whinging. Dementor attack. 2 of them. Harry and Bruce exchanged alarmed looks. The Dursleys' neighborhood, Harry realized. But why there? I haven't lived there in years. Bait, Bruce concluded. Or message. Either way, it's coordinated. The incident triggered a ministry hearing for Harry's underage magic in a Muggle area, despite him not being present. Bruce attended alongside Dumbledore, presenting adoption papers and witness statements proving Harry had been in Gotham during the incident. This smells like a setup, Bruce commented afterward. They wanted you back in England, under their jurisdiction. Harry nodded. The Ministry's still denying Voldemort's return, but they're clearly worried about something. When they arrived at Hogwarts for the new term, the Ministry's interference became obvious. Dolores Umbridge, senior undersecretary to the minister, had been installed as both defense against the dark arts teacher and High Inquisitor. She's not teaching defense, Harry noted after their first class. She's suppressing it. Theoretical only, no practical spellcasting. They're deliberately leaving students unprepared, Hermione agreed. Because a prepared student population could become a threat to ministry control. Harry nodded. Classic authoritarian tactic. Bruce has seen it in dictatorships worldwide. So what do we do? Ron asked. Harry smiled slightly. We become the resistance. Thus began Dumbledore's army, though Harry privately thought of it as Batman's Gotham Knights. He trained fellow students in practical defense, applying Bruce's teaching methods, demonstrate, explain principles, supervised practice, scenario testing. "You're a good teacher, Harry," Hermione observed after a particularly successful session. "I had a good model," Harry replied. Bruce believes knowledge should be shared, not hoarded. Especially survival skills. Umbridge's regime grew increasingly oppressive. When she caught Harry using his communication watch to contact Bruce, she attempted to confiscate it. "This device violates school rules," she simpered. "And communication with your guardian must be monitored." Harry met her gaze steadily. "The device stays with me. And my communications are private." "Detention, Mr. Potter," she snapped, dropping the sweet facade. "Tonight." The detention revealed Umbridge's true cruelty, a blood quill that carved words into the user's skin. Harry endured without complaint, documenting everything for future legal action. Bruce's response was coldly furious. "Child torture is illegal in both Muggle and magical law. We'll build a case." "She wants a reaction," Harry noted. "Proof that I'm unstable, dangerous." "Then we don't give her one," Bruce agreed. "We gather evidence and strike when the time is right." The situation escalated when Harry began experiencing visions, glimpses of Voldemort's activities and emotions. Bruce immediately recognized the danger. "Mental connection. Likely through your scar." His expression was grave. "This is a serious security vulnerability, Harry." "He doesn't know about the connection yet," Harry observed. "But when he does, he'll exploit it. You need mental defense training immediately." Professor Snape, surprisingly, provided the solution. "Occlumency," he explained reluctantly after Dumbledore's request. "The magical defense of the mind against external penetration." The training was brutal. Snape attacked Harry's memories relentlessly, seeming to take particular pleasure in viewing moments with Bruce. "The great Batman," Snape sneered after one session. "Not so impressive without his costume and gadgets." Harry controlled his anger, applying Bruce's teachings on emotional discipline. "You're entitled to your opinion, Professor. Though it's interesting you focus so consistently on my guardian rather than the actual training objective." Snape's expression darkened. "Your arrogance is an observation, not arrogance," Harry interrupted calmly. "You've mentioned Bruce in every session, despite him being irrelevant to occlumency. That suggests personal interest or concern." Snape stared, momentarily speechless at being analyzed so directly. "If there's something specific you want to know about him," Harry continued, "you could simply ask." "Get out," Snape finally managed, though with less venom than usual. Despite the difficult relationship, Harry made progress with occlumency, combining Snape's magical techniques with Bruce's meditation and mental discipline exercises. The true test came when Harry experienced a vision of Sirius being tortured in the Department of Mysteries. Rather than rushing headlong to the rescue, he applied detective methodology, verifying facts, checking alternative explanations. "Creature," he called, summoning the black family house elf who'd reluctantly served Sirius. "Where is Sirius right now?" "Master is upstairs, tending to that filthy hippogriff," Creature replied sullenly. Harry nodded, suspicions confirmed. "It's a trap. Voldemort's trying to lure me to the Department of Mysteries." He immediately contacted both Bruce and Dumbledore with this intelligence. The Order of the Phoenix prepared a counter-trap, ready to ambush Death Eaters when they appeared. "You're staying at Hogwarts," Bruce instructed firmly. "But I could help, not this time. The vision connection makes you vulnerable." "That's exactly what he wants, you, there." Harry reluctantly agreed, recognizing the tactical logic. The resulting confrontation led to multiple Death Eater captures, and public confirmation of Voldemort's return when he appeared briefly before fleeing Dumbledore and Aurors. The Ministry could no longer deny the truth. Fudge resigned in disgrace, Umbridge was removed from Hogwarts, and the wizarding world finally began preparing for war. In Dumbledore's office afterward, the headmaster shared crucial information about Voldemort's past and the prophecy that connected him to Harry. Neither can live while the other survives, Dumbledore concluded solemnly. Harry absorbed this with the analytical calm Bruce had instilled in him. A prophecy only has power if people act on it. Voldemort created his own nemesis by choosing me. Indeed, Dumbledore agreed, looking impressed by Harry's perspective. Though I wonder if Batman's influence has prepared you for what lies ahead, or merely postponed the inevitable confrontation. Bruce taught me something important about inevitability, Harry replied. Nothing is inevitable until it happens. Until then, it's just probability, and probabilities can be changed. In his 6th year, Harry's two worlds collided dramatically. While investigating Voldemort's history with Dumbledore, learning about Horcruxes and the Dark Wizard's fragmenting of his soul, Harry received alarming news from Gotham. Blackwood's resurfaced, Bruce reported through their secure channel. And he's not alone. Security footage showed the Dark Wizard alongside a familiar green-haired figure, the Joker, now wielding a wand and causing magical chaos throughout Gotham. He's teaching him magic? Harry asked, horrified. Worse. He's created a custom wand that channels Joker's chaotic energy. Not true wizardry, but effective enough. They've broken into Arkham, released inmates, and enhanced them with magical abilities. Harry immediately arranged emergency leave from Hogwarts. Hermione insisted on accompanying him, having grown increasingly proficient in magical technological integration during their summer work. The magical signature is familiar, Hermione noted as they analyzed evidence in the Batcave. Similar to the diary we destroyed in the chamber. Harry looked up sharply. A Horcrux? But that would mean. Blackwood has contacted Voldemort, Bruce concluded grimly. Their goals align somehow. Further investigation revealed the terrible truth. Blackwood had promised Voldemort access to Gotham's unique energy pattern in exchange for immortality secrets. The Joker was their chaos agent, the perfect unpredictable element to destabilize both worlds. They're building another portal, Harry realized, studying Blackwood's pattern. But bigger, city-wide. If they succeed, Hermione added, they could create a permanent bridge between worlds. Magic flooding into Gotham, technology into the wizarding world. Uncontrolled, Bruce noted. Catastrophic for both sides. Their response required unprecedented coordination. Batman called in his allies, Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin. Harry activated the DA's communication system, bringing wizarding reinforcements including Ron, Luna, and Neville. 2 teams, Harry outlined in the briefing. Magical and technical. Each portal anchor point needs both types of disruption simultaneously. The battle for Gotham became legendary in both worlds. Magically enhanced villains fought alongside Death Eaters. The Joker, cackling with his new magical powers, dueled Harry across rooftops while Blackwood and Batman engaged in their own deadly confrontation. The boy detective returns. Joker crowed, sending purple flames from his wand. All grown up and twice as serious. Did Batsy teach you to scowl like that, or was it natural talent? Harry deflected the flames. You're being used, Joker. Blackwood and Voldemort will discard you once the portal's complete. Of course they will. Joker laughed maniacally. That's what makes it fun. Double-cross the double-crossers. Triple-cross the triple-crossers. It's crosses all the way down. He revealed his own modification to Blackwood's plan, a destabilizing element that would cause the portal to collapse catastrophically rather than establish a stable connection. Gotham goes boom. Joker giggled. Wizarding world goes boom. Everyone goes boom. The final confrontation occurred at Gotham Clock Tower, the central anchor point for the portal network. Batman and Harry fought side by side, their years of training together creating a seamless partnership against Blackwood and Joker. Fascinating, Blackwood observed, deflecting Batman's attacks while countering Harry's spells. The Muggle and the Wizard, fighting as one. A preview of the world I'll create, but under my control, not this, chaotic collaboration. Your portal won't work, Harry countered, using a combination of spells Bruce had helped him develop, part shield, part offensive wave. The energy patterns are incompatible without proper calibration. That's why I needed the boy who lived, Blackwood smiled coldly. Your unique magical signature, touched by both worlds, is the final component. Understanding dawned. The tournament, the Ministry interference, the Dementor attack, you were working with Voldemort all along. Different methods, aligned goals, Blackwood confirmed. Though I find his blood purity obsession tediously provincial. Magic is magic, regardless of heritage. While they fought, Hermione led the technical team in disrupting the portal's technological components while Ron coordinated the magical countermeasures. The Joker, realizing his own plan was being thwarted, turned on Blackwood. Change of plans, partner, he announced, stabbing Blackwood with a one-knife hybrid of his own creation. I'm improvising. The betrayal created the opening Batman and Harry needed. Together, they activated the shutdown sequence while containing the magical backlash. Fools! Blackwood gasped, magical energy pouring from his wound. The portal's already drawing power. Without proper closure, the dimensional tier will, the clock tower trembled as reality itself seemed to fracture around them. The Joker laughed hysterically as he was pulled toward the growing rift. Best punchline ever, he screamed as he disappeared into the void. Harry worked frantically, combining his intuitive magic with the structured spellwork Hermione had developed. Batman simultaneously rewired the technological components, rerouting power to contain rather than expand the rift. We need a focal point. Harry shouted over the dimensional winds. Something to channel the closure. Use this. Batman handed him a specially designed batarang containing elements from both worlds, Gotham steel and powdered basilisk fang. Aim for the center. Harry infused the batarang with his magic and threw it with Batman's precision. It struck the exact center of the rift, creating a resonance that forced the tear to close in on itself. The implosion knocked everyone back. When the dust cleared, Blackwood was gone, either destroyed or pulled into whatever dimension had claimed the Joker. The portal technology was in ruins. Is it over? Ron asked, helping a wounded Neville to his feet. Harry exchanged looks with Bruce. This battle is. But Voldemort knows what happened here. He'll try again, different approach, same goal. And we'll be ready, Bruce stated with certainty. The Ministry of Magic, forced to acknowledge the Gotham incident, finally abandoned their attempts to separate Harry from Bruce. The threat crossed both worlds now, requiring unprecedented cooperation. In a private meeting afterward, Dumbledore admitted what Harry had suspected: the headmaster had known about Blackwood's connection to Voldemort. I feared telling you would accelerate their plans, Dumbledore explained. A miscalculation on my part. I underestimated both your capabilities and Batman's. Information sharing would have helped, Harry noted without accusation. Bruce's methods rely on complete intelligence. Yes, I'm beginning to see that. Dumbledore studied him thoughtfully. You've become something unique, Harry. Neither solely wizard nor muggle in your approach. A true bridge between worlds. That's what Blackwood wanted to exploit. But it may be our greatest strength against Voldemort, Dumbledore countered. He understands neither the Muggle world nor the power of the connections you've formed. As Harry entered his 7th year, the hunt for Voldemort's Horcruxes became his primary mission. Using the Batcave as their secure headquarters, Harry, Ron, and Hermione applied detective methodology to what had previously been treated as a magical problem. It's not just about finding them, Harry explained as they examined their evidence board. It's about understanding the pattern of their creation and concealment. Bruce, looking over their work, nodded approvingly. You've organized the intelligence well. Historical timeline, psychological profile, location analysis. Ron whistled. No wonder you solved everything at Hogwarts, Harry. This is like having a map to someone's mind. Their methodical approach yielded results. Rather than random searching, they targeted locations with specific significance to Voldemort's psychology, places of power, triumph, or formative experiences. When Voldemort realized his Horcruxes were being systematically destroyed, he launched a full assault on Hogwarts, the final confrontation both sides had been building toward. In the chaos of battle, Harry finally faced Voldemort directly, armed with knowledge of the Dark Wizard's complete history and the understanding that part of Voldemort's soul resided within Harry himself, making him the unintentional final Horcrux. "You've lost your advantage, Tom," Harry said calmly, facing Voldemort in the devastated Great Hall. "Your Horcruxes are gone. Your forces are retreating. Your secrets are exposed." Voldemort's snake-like face contorted with rage. "You understand nothing, Potter. I have powers you cannot imagine." "I don't need to imagine them," Harry replied. "I've documented them. Analyzed them. Found their limitations. Your Muggle methods are meaningless against Lord Voldemort." Harry smiled slightly. "They've destroyed all but one of your Horcruxes." The duel that followed tested everything Harry had learned from both worlds. Voldemort fought with raw power and decades of dark magical knowledge. Harry countered with precision, strategy, and unexpected combinations of magic and mundane techniques. When Voldemort cast the killing curse one final time, Harry didn't simply rely on his wand's connection to the Dark Wizards. He implemented the plan he and Bruce had developed, using his own status as a Horcrux to redirect the deadly magic back into the fragment of soul within him. The resulting magical backlash destroyed the Horcrux while leaving Harry alive, his own soul intact. Voldemort's curse, meeting this altered target, rebounded once more upon its caster, this time, fatally. As Voldemort fell, Harry felt the weight of prophecy lift. He had fulfilled it not through superior magical power, but through superior investigation, preparation, and execution, the lessons Bruce had instilled in him since childhood. In the years that followed, Harry formalized his role as bridge between worlds. Working alongside both the Ministry of Magic and Batman, he established the Department of Magical Investigation, a specialized unit that applied detective methodology to magical crimes. Hermione joined him in this venture, their partnership evolving from friendship to romance as they built something new together. Ron, surprisingly adept at strategy and coordination, became their operations director. Bruce, watching Harry's evolution from child to leader, felt the pride of a parent seeing their teachings bear fruit in unexpected ways. "You've created something I never could," Bruce acknowledged during one of their regular dinners at Wayne Manor. "A true integration of our worlds." Harry smiled. "I had a good teacher. You showed me that it's not the tools or abilities that matter most, it's how you use them." Alfred, serving dessert, added his own observation. "If I may say so, Master Bruce, you gave young Master Harry something even more valuable than methodology." "What's that, Alfred?" "Purpose. The same purpose that drives you, to turn personal tragedy into public service. To ensure no child suffers as you did." Harry nodded in agreement. The boy who lived became the wizard who solved. "I can live with that legacy." Outside, the bat signal lit the Gotham sky while simultaneously, a magical alert chimed from Harry's communication device. Both men stood, exchanging knowing looks. "Same old story?" Hermione asked, joining them with her own gear ready. "New case, actually," Harry replied, checking the details. "Magical artifacts appearing in Metropolis. Multiple witnesses reporting impossible phenomena." Bruce was already moving toward the Batcave entrance. "Clock's ticking." Harry grinned at Hermione. "Shall we?" Together, they descended into the cave, wizard detective and his brilliant partner, ready once again to solve the cases no one else could. Chapter 3, The Wizard Detective Rises. Harry stood on platform 9 3/4, scanning the crowd with practiced precision. 5th year. The air buzzed with nervous energy, students huddled in tight groups, parents casting worried glances. News of Voldemort's return had finally broken in the Daily Prophet, confirming what Harry had been saying for months. "They're scared," Hermione observed, appearing at his side. "They should be," Harry replied. "But fear without action is useless." Ron joined them, pushing his trolley. "Mom tried to convince me to stay home. Dad talked her down." Harry nodded. Arthur Weasley had become one of their strongest allies in the Ministry, one of the few who'd believed Harry from the start. "Your family's under surveillance," Harry noted quietly. "Ministry's watching everyone connected to me." "How'd you know that?" Ron asked, surprised. "The man pretending to read the newspaper by the column, he's been tracking your movements since you arrived. Hasn't turned a page in 15 minutes. Ron whistled. "Bloody hell. You sound more like Batman every day." Harry smiled slightly. "Take it as a compliment." As they boarded the train, Harry felt the weight of the small device in his pocket, a hybrid magical technological scanner Bruce had developed. After the Triwizard disaster and Voldemort's return, they'd agreed increased vigilance was essential. "I've been thinking about our approach this year," Harry said once they'd found a compartment. "Reactive isn't working. We need to go offensive." Hermione raised an eyebrow. "Meaning?" "Intelligence gathering. Network building. We treat Hogwarts as the investigation site it is." Harry's green eyes gleamed with purpose. "No more waiting for the mysteries to find us." "Dumbledore's still keeping secrets," Ron noted. "Everyone keeps secrets," Harry replied. "Our job is finding the ones that matter." The door slid open, revealing a girl with straggly blonde hair and protuberant eyes. "That's a fascinating approach," she said dreamily. "Rather like hunting blibbering humdingers, you have to seek them out." Harry assessed her quickly, barefoot despite the cool weather, radish earrings, wand tucked behind her ear. Unconventional, observant, unafraid of social judgment. "I'm Luna Lovegood," she introduced herself. "You're Harry Potter, the detective." "Detective?" Ron repeated. "Oh yes," Luna said, sitting down uninvited. "Everyone knows Harry solves mysteries. The chamber, the Philosopher's Stone, the tournament plot. You're quite famous for it." Harry exchanged glances with Hermione. "I hadn't realized people saw it that way." "Most don't look properly," Luna shrugged. "They see what they expect, the boy who lived." "I see patterns." "Like you do." Harry studied her with renewed interest. "What house are you in, Luna?" "Ravenclaw. Though I sometimes think the Sorting Hat should have created a house for those who don't fit the usual categories." "I think we're going to get along just fine," Harry decided. The great hall buzzed with tension that evening. At the staff table, a toad-like woman in pink simpered beside Dumbledore. Harry's eyes narrowed. "Dolores Umbridge," he murmured. "Senior Undersecretary to the Minister of Magic." "How do you know that?" Ron whispered. "Dossier," Harry replied. Bruce compiled files on all key Ministry officials after the tournament fiasco. Hermione looked impressed. "The pink is a psychological tactic. Disarming, seemingly harmless, makes people underestimate her." "Exactly," Harry nodded. "Never trust anyone who tries that hard to look harmless." Umbridge's speech confirmed their suspicions. Progress for progress's sake must be discouraged, pruning practices that ought to be prohibited. "The Ministry's interfering at Hogwarts," Hermione translated. "Phase 1 of their control strategy," Harry agreed. "Restrict information, then action." Later in the common room, Harry activated the communication device Bruce had upgraded over the summer. Unlike his previous watch, this one had expanded capabilities, secure channel, data transmission, and limited scanning functions. "Surveillance confirmed," he reported quietly. "Ministry presence established inside Hogwarts." "Expected," Bruce's voice replied. What's your assessment of Umbridge? Career bureaucrat. Loyal to power, not principles. Will enforce ministry narrative regardless of facts. Dangerous combination. What's your plan? Harry smiled slightly. Creating alternative information channels. Building a network. Operating beneath official radar. Good. Remember, information is only valuable when actionable, Harry finished. I remember. Be careful, Harry. The ministry's fear makes them unpredictable. So does mine, Harry replied confidently. Defense against the dark arts class confirmed their worst expectations. Umbridge assigned theoretical reading with no practical magic permitted. Wands away, she repeated sweetly when students protested. Ministry-approved curriculum focuses on magical theory in a safe, risk-free environment. Excuse me, Professor, Harry said calmly. But isn't the point of defense to prepare for unsafe environments? Theory alone doesn't build muscle memory or instinctive responses. Umbridge's smile tightened. Mr. Potter, Wayne Potter, Harry corrected. Her eyes narrowed. Mr. Potter, the ministry has determined that previously, students received dangerous, age-inappropriate instruction in this subject. Like the unforgivable curses demonstrated on spiders? Harry asked innocently. Or the exposure to boggarts? Or perhaps the dueling practice? Precisely such irresponsible methods, Umbridge nodded, missing his sarcasm. Interesting, Harry replied. Because I found each of those valuable in surviving multiple encounters with Voldemort. The classroom went deathly silent. Umbridge's face flushed. Detention, Mr. Potter. And I must correct your deliberate spreading of misinformation. He who must not be named has not returned. Evidence suggests otherwise, Harry countered calmly. Multiple witness testimonies, forensic magical analysis of the graveyard site, residual signature readings, enough. Umbridge's voice lost its sweetness. The ministry has determined there is no threat. That is final. Harry nodded slightly. Understood, Professor. The ministry has determined there's no threat. Just as the ministry determined Sirius Black was guilty without trial, and the ministry determined I somehow competed in the Triwizard Tournament without entering. Umbridge's eyes bulged. 1 week of detentions. Beginning tonight. As Harry left class, Hermione hurried alongside him. That was deliberate provocation. Tactical, Harry corrected. I needed to assess her reaction patterns and authority limits. Now I know both. She'll make those detentions miserable, Ron warned. Counting on it, Harry replied. Evidence collection works best when the subject doesn't realize they're providing it. That evening, Harry discovered the true nature of Umbridge's punishment, a blood quill that carved words into the user's skin as they wrote. The message, I must not tell lies. Harry showed no reaction beyond clinical interest. Interesting artifact, he commented, examining the quill. Self-inking, blood-based contract magic. Banned by the Magical Equipment Control Act of 1891, except for official Gringotts contracts. Umbridge simpered. The ministry authorizes appropriate disciplinary tools for Hogwarts. Does it? Harry began writing, maintaining eye contact as the words cut into his hand. I'd be interested to see that authorization document. Her smile faltered slightly. Continue writing, Mr. Potter. Harry did, mentally cataloging everything, the quill's design, the specific pain pattern, Umbridge's micro-expressions of satisfaction. All evidence. Later in the dormitory, he photographed his hand with a specialized camera Bruce had provided, capturing both the visible wound and its magical signature. This is illegal. Hermione gasped when he showed her. Extremely, Harry agreed. Which makes it valuable evidence of ministry corruption. You should show Dumbledore, Ron urged. Harry shook his head. Not yet. Dumbledore's under surveillance too. We build the case first, then present it when it's actionable. Harry's plan unfolded methodically. First, he established an underground defense training group, dubbed Dumbledore's Army, for public consumption, but structured using Batman's training protocols. Combat effectiveness requires 3 elements, Harry explained to the assembled students in the room of requirement. Skill mastery, tactical awareness, and teamwork. He transformed the room into a training facility that would have made Bruce proud: practice dummies, obstacle courses, and analysis stations. This isn't just about learning spells, Harry continued. It's about understanding situations. Reading opponents. Making decisions under pressure. Like you did in the graveyard, Ginny Weasley said quietly. Harry nodded. Exactly. Voldemort expected panic, a terrified 14-year-old. Strategic thinking gave me an edge he wasn't prepared for. But we're just students, Neville objected nervously. So was I, Harry replied. The difference wasn't power, it was preparation and mindset. He paired students based on complementary abilities, not friendship circles. Luna's creativity matched with Hermione's precision. Ron's strategic thinking with Neville's determination. Each pairing designed to strengthen weaknesses. You're building an investigative team, aren't you? Hermione asked later as they refined the training program. Not just a defense group. Harry smiled. Bruce always says specialized teams solve cases individual detectives can't. We need intelligence gathering, pattern analysis, and field capabilities. And what exactly are we investigating? Ron asked. Everything, Harry replied. Voldemort's plans. Ministry corruption. Umbridge's real mission here. And something else I haven't mentioned yet. He activated a secured privacy field around them, another Wayne Enterprises prototype. I've detected anomalous magical signatures around the castle. Similar to what Batman and I found in Gotham when Blackwood was active. Hermione's eyes widened. You think he's here? At Hogwarts? Not directly, Harry clarified. But someone's using artifacts with his magical signature. I've triangulated most activity to the 7th floor, near the room of requirement. Ron frowned. But we use that room for DA meetings. Different configuration, Harry explained. The room becomes what the user needs. Someone else is using it for something connected to Blackwood's magic. That's why you insisted on security protocols for the DA, Hermione realized. You're using one investigation as cover for another. Harry nodded. Bruce calls it nested operations. One visible activity conceals the real mission. As winter deepened, Harry expanded his intelligence network. Luna proved unexpectedly valuable, her Ravenclaw connections providing insights into parts of the castle Harry couldn't easily access. People say interesting things around me, she explained. They think I'm not paying attention. Their mistake, Harry noted approvingly. What have you heard? Draco Malfoy's been missing classes. Disappears for hours. Returns looking exhausted. Luna twisted her butterbeer cork necklace. And the castle's thestral population has grown restless, they sense dark magic. Harry had learned to take Luna's unusual observations seriously, they often contained crucial insights obscured by her unique perspective. His communication with Bruce grew more infrequent as Umbridge monitored the mail and patrolled the Flu network. Their coded messages hidden in seemingly innocent letters became vital information lifelines. Package secured, a letter from Uncle Vernon stated, Bruce's confirmation he'd obtained a sample of the anomalous magical energy Harry had detected. Analysis suggests connection to previous subject, the next letter revealed, confirmation of Blackwood's involvement. Harry's investigation progressed on multiple fronts. The DA evolved into a capable operation, with specialized teams handling different aspects of their preparation. Meanwhile, Harry traced the strange magical signatures through the castle, documenting patterns and occurrences. The breakthrough came accidentally. Harry was tracking an especially strong reading when he encountered Draco Malfoy emerging from the room of requirement, looking haggard. Potter, Malfoy sneered, though the usual venom seemed diluted by exhaustion. Harry assessed him clinically: weight loss, dark circles under eyes, slight tremor in his left hand, magical residue clinging to his robes. "Working late, Malfoy?" Harry asked conversationally. "None of your business," Malfoy snapped, but Harry caught the flash of fear in his eyes. "Interesting project?" Harry pressed. "Must be important to skip Quidditch practice for it." Malfoy paled slightly. "How did you?" he caught himself. "Spying on me, Potter." "Typical." "Observation, not spying," Harry corrected. "Like observing that your shoes have dust containing a rare magical mineral only found in portal construction. Or that your magical signature currently shows harmonic disruption patterns consistent with interdimensional manipulation." The blood drained from Malfoy's face. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I think I do," Harry replied quietly. "Blackwood's work. Modified for a new purpose. What I don't know is why you're involved." Malfoy's hand moved toward his wand, but Harry was faster, not drawing his own, but shifting subtly into a defensive stance Bruce had taught him. "Don't," Harry warned. "I just want information, not confrontation." "You have no idea what's happening," Malfoy hissed, his composure cracking. "What he'll do to my family if I fail." "Voldemort," Harry concluded, watching Malfoy flinch at the name. "He's threatened your parents to force your cooperation." Malfoy said nothing, but his silence was confirmation enough. "Whatever you're building won't protect them," Harry said. "Let me help." Malfoy laughed bitterly. "Help? The great Harry Potter, offering help to a Malfoy? What would Batman say?" Harry kept his expression neutral despite the shock. Malfoy knowing about Batman was significant, and concerning. "He'd say everyone deserves a chance to choose their own path," Harry replied honestly. "Even you, Draco." Uncertainty flickered across Malfoy's face, quickly replaced by determination. "Stay out of my way, Potter. For both our sakes." He hurried away, glancing nervously over his shoulder. Harry didn't follow, instead documenting the encounter and the magical readings. Malfoy's knowledge of Batman suggested a deeper connection between Voldemort and Blackwood than they'd realized. That night, Harry had the dream again: a long corridor, a door, a sense of desperate longing. But this time, something changed. His occlumency training kicked in, creating a moment of lucidity within the vision. "This isn't my desire," Harry realized. "It's his. Voldemort wants something in the Department of Mysteries." The dream shifted, becoming clearer. Harry saw a glowing orb on a shelf, labeled with his name. A prophecy. He woke with a gasp, immediately activating his emergency communication protocol. Despite the risk, he needed to alert Bruce immediately. "Voldemort's target identified," he reported once the secure connection established. "Department of Mysteries, Hall of Prophecy. Specific record concerning him and me." Bruce's voice was tense. "This confirms our theory. The portal Malfoy's building and the prophecy are connected. Two-pronged approach: magical insight from the prophecy, technological capabilities from Blackwood's design." "Creating what?" Harry asked. "Unknown," Bruce admitted. "But based on energy readings, something capable of bridging dimensional barriers on an unprecedented scale." Harry processed this. Malfoy's being coerced. Using his family as leverage. Classic hostage scenario, Bruce agreed. "What's your next move?" "Accelerate our counter-operation," Harry decided. "The DA's ready for field deployment. We need to secure the prophecy before Voldemort does." "Risky," Bruce cautioned. "The Ministry still controls the department." "Then we work around them," Harry replied. "I didn't spend 4 years learning from the world's greatest detective to be stopped by bureaucracy." The opportunity came during OWL examinations. With Hogwarts focused on testing, security temporarily loosened. Harry assembled his core team: Hermione, Ron, Luna, Neville, and Ginny. This is strictly voluntary, he emphasized in their final briefing. High risk, potentially illegal entry into the Ministry of Magic. To prevent Voldemort getting the prophecy, Hermione clarified. Harry nodded. And to gather intelligence on the Blackwood-Voldemort connection. We're with you, mate, Ron said firmly. The others nodded in agreement. Then let's review the plan. Harry unfolded a detailed map of the Ministry, compiled from various sources including Arthur Weasley's descriptions, public records, and Bruce's reconnaissance during Harry's disciplinary hearing. Entry through the visitor's entrance. Luna and Ginny create a diversion here. He pointed to the atrium. Security will respond, creating our window to access the lifts. Department of Mysteries, Level 9. Based on my vision connection with Voldemort, the Hall of Prophecy is here. He outlined contingencies, escape routes, and emergency protocols with a thoroughness that would have made Bruce proud. Questions? Harry concluded. Just one, Neville said nervously. What exactly do we do with the prophecy once we have it? Secure extraction, Harry replied. Batman will meet us at the rendezvous point with specialized containment equipment. The infiltration began smoothly. Their practice sessions had created seamless teamwork, with each person understanding their role perfectly. Luna and Ginny's diversion, a spectacular display of enchanted origami birds carrying rude messages about the minister, drew security exactly as planned. Harry led the others through the confusion, reaching the Department of Mysteries without detection. The circular room with identical doors momentarily disoriented them until Hermione marked each entrance with a glowing flag. The Hall of Prophecy should be directly ahead, Harry whispered, consulting both his map and the magical sensor Bruce had provided. Energy readings consistent with my vision. The vast chamber contained thousands of glowing orbs on endless shelves. Harry consulted the location code from his vision, leading them directly to row 97. Here, he said, finding the orb labeled with his name. Prophecy concerning Harry Potter and Lord Voldemort. As he reached for it, Harry's scar exploded with pain. A vision flashed through his mind, Voldemort, watching through Harry's eyes, laughing triumphantly. It's a trap, Harry gasped, snatching his hand back. He wanted me to find it, to retrieve it for him. Too late for that realization, Potter, drawled a familiar voice. Death Eaters emerged from the shadows, led by Lucius Malfoy, Draco's father. The Dark Lord anticipated your hero complex would bring you running. Harry assessed their situation instantly, outnumbered, surrounded, limited escape routes. But not unprepared. Formation Theta, he said quietly to his team. They shifted subtly into defensive positions, wands ready but not raised. The prophecy, Potter, Malfoy demanded, extending his hand. Now, or your friends start dying. Interesting threat, Harry replied conversationally, buying time as he activated the emergency signal on his communication device. Especially from someone whose son is being forced to build a dimensional portal under duress. Malfoy's eyes widened slightly. You know nothing. I know Blackwood's working with Voldemort, Harry continued, noting which Death Eaters reacted to the name. Combining magic and technology to create something unprecedented. I know Draco's the implementation tool because his magical signature can access Hogwarts protections. Enough. Bellatrix Lestrange stepped forward, her eyes wild. Give us the prophecy or watch me torture your little girlfriend. She pointed her wand at Hermione. Harry met Hermione's eyes briefly, a silent confirmation of their contingency plan. The prophecy is worthless without context, Harry said, still not reaching for the orb. Which is why we've already duplicated the information. A bluff, but delivered with conviction. Doubt flickered across Malfoy's face. Impossible. Prophecies can only be retrieved by those they concern. Unless you have a bat-analyzed quantum resonance detector, Harry replied smoothly, pulling a small device from his pocket. In truth, it was simply a magical light Bruce had modified, but the Death Eaters wouldn't know that. He's lying, Bellatrix hissed. Crucio. The spell shot toward Harry, but he'd anticipated it, dropping into a roll while activating the DA's emergency protocol. His team responded instantly, synchronized shield charms creating a protective barrier while diversionary tactics scattered the Death Eaters' attention. Now! Harry shouted. Ron triggered the modified Peruvian darkness powder they prepared, enhanced with a disorientation charm Hermione had developed. The hall plunged into impenetrable blackness filled with confusing sounds and sensations. The DA members, prepared for this, activated enchanted glasses, another Batman-inspired tool, that allowed limited visibility in the darkness. Grab the prophecy and move to extraction point, Harry ordered, engaging two Death Eaters who had stumbled toward him. The fight that followed was chaotic but controlled. The DA's training showed in their disciplined responses and teamwork. Harry moved through the darkness with Batman's stealth training, disarming opponents and creating openings for his friends. They fought their way back to the circular room, but Death Eaters pursued closely. The battle expanded through various chambers of the department, a room with a fluttering veil, another filled with time manipulation devices, a chamber of swirling planets. In the time room, disaster struck. A Death Eater's curse hit Hermione, sending her crumpling to the floor. Harry's heart lurched, but training kept him focused. Neville, Luna, extract Hermione, he commanded. Ron, Ginny, cover their retreat. What about you? Ron shouted, deflecting a curse. I'll secure the prophecy and follow, Harry replied, already moving toward a different exit. Standard separation protocol. Rendezvous at Point Gamma. This was tactical, dividing their pursuers' attention while creating multiple extraction paths. Harry led the main group of Death Eaters away from his injured friends, the prophecy secure in an enchanted pouch at his belt. The chase led to the atrium, where Harry found himself suddenly alone, facing Lucius Malfoy and Bellatrix Lestrange. Nowhere left to run, Potter, Malfoy said smoothly. The prophecy, if you please. I'm curious, Harry replied, maintaining distance while assessing options. Does Draco know you're sacrificing his future for Voldemort's plans? Does he understand that Blackwood's portal will destroy him in the process? Malfoy's composure slipped slightly. You speak of things beyond your comprehension. I comprehend perfectly, Harry countered. I've studied Blackwood's work. The portal requires a living conduit, someone whose magical signature bridges the connection points. Draco's building his own execution device. Enough talking. Bellatrix shrieked. Avada Kedavra. Harry dodged with practiced precision, the killing curse missing by inches. He returned fire with non-lethal but strategically chosen spells, a combination designed to separate the two Death Eaters and limit their mobility. The duel intensified, Harry holding his own against both experienced dark wizards. Bruce's combat training, combined with Harry's natural magical talent, created a fighting style the Death Eaters had never encountered. He fights like a muggle, Bellatrix spat disgustedly as Harry used physical movement to complement magical attacks. With magical enhancement, Harry corrected, using a wall-running technique to evade her curse while simultaneously casting a binding spell at Malfoy. The tide turned when the fireplaces around the atrium flared green. Ministry officials arriving for the morning shift froze at the sight of the battle. In that moment of confusion, Bellatrix attacked again, a cutting curse that caught Harry's shoulder, sending the prophecy flying from his pouch. The orb shattered on the marble floor. A ghostly figure rose from the mist, speaking words only Harry, closest to the breaking point, could hear. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches. Born to those who have thrice defied him, born as the seventh month dies. And the Dark Lord will mark him as his equal, but he will have power the Dark Lord knows not. And either must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives. No! Bellatrix screamed, lunging toward the dissipating mist. Too late. The prophecy was gone. And worse for the Death Eaters, the atrium was now filled with Ministry witnesses staring in shock at the unmistakable forms of Voldemort's followers. "Potter!" Malfoy roared, raising his wand for a final attack. A batarang knocked it from his hand. Batman emerged from the shadows, his presence freezing everyone in momentary shock. Even in the wizarding world, his appearance commanded attention, the dark costume absorbing light, the cowl hiding all but his determination. "It's over, Malfoy," Batman growled. Chaos erupted again as Ministry personnel recovered from their surprise. Spells flew as Aurors engaged the Death Eaters. Batman moved to Harry's side, applying pressure to his bleeding shoulder. "The others?" Batman asked tersely. "Safe. Extraction pathway Gamma," Harry replied. "Hermione's injured." A thunderous crack shook the atrium. Where there had been empty space, Lord Voldemort now stood, pale, serpentine, radiating cold fury. "Batman," Voldemort hissed. "At last we meet." "Tom Riddle," Batman replied flatly. "You're shorter than I expected." Voldemort's red eyes narrowed. "You dare, he dares quite a lot," came another voice. Albus Dumbledore strode into the atrium, power emanating from his tall figure. "As do I." What followed was a duel of unprecedented magnitude. Voldemort against Dumbledore, with Batman and Harry providing tactical support. Magic and technology, experience and innovation, combining in ways neither world had seen before. The Ministry workers fled in terror as the building itself seemed to come alive, statues attacking, water forming weapons, fire and lightning exchanged in blinding flashes. Through it all, Harry fought alongside his mentors, applying everything he'd learned from both. When Voldemort attempted to possess him, a last desperate attack, Harry was prepared, his occlumency shields reinforced by Bruce's mental discipline training. "You cannot touch my mind anymore," Harry pushed back, forcing Voldemort out. "You have no power here." With a final scream of rage, Voldemort disappeared, along with Bellatrix. Malfoy and the other Death Eaters remained, captured by the arriving Aurors. Cornelius Fudge, the Minister of Magic, stood gaping in the destroyed atrium. "He's back," Fudge whispered. "He who must not be named is really back." "As I've been saying for a year," Harry noted dryly, allowing Batman to examine his wounded shoulder. "And what, is this?" Fudge demanded, pointing at Batman. "An ally," Dumbledore answered simply. "One we're fortunate to have." The aftermath transformed the wizarding world's approach to Voldemort's return. With public confirmation, the Ministry shifted to war footing, though their effectiveness remained questionable. At Hogwarts, Umbridge was removed, her blood quill evidence presented by Harry in a devastatingly thorough case that left the Ministry no choice but to distance themselves from her methods. More importantly, Harry's direct observation of the prophecy changed his perspective on the conflict. "The power he knows not," Harry mused in the Batcave during summer break. "Everyone assumes it's love or some inherent magical ability." "But you think differently," Bruce noted, reviewing the detailed report Harry had compiled on the Department of Mystery's battle. "I think it's this," Harry gestured around the cave. "Methodology. Approach. Voldemort understands magic as power, direct, dominating. He doesn't understand investigation, evidence, deduction. The detective's mindset," Bruce agreed. "Seeing patterns where others see only chaos." "Exactly." Harry pulled up the holographic display they'd developed for tracking magical signatures. "Which is why we're going to solve Voldemort like a case, not fight him like a war." Hermione, who had recovered from her injuries, joined them at the computer. "I've been researching Horcruxes based on Dumbledore's information. They're not just dark magic, they're evidence." Harry nodded. "Each one tells us something about Voldemort's psychology, his weaknesses, his blind spots." "And Blackwood's portal?" Bruce asked. "Connected," Harry confirmed. "The magical signatures match components Draco's been assembling at Hogwarts. Voldemort's planning something unprecedented, combining Horcrux magic with interdimensional technology. Creating what? A sanctuary, Harry theorized. A realm where he controls reality itself. Immortality beyond just avoiding death, becoming a god of his own dimension. Bruce's expression darkened. The magical equivalent of Ra's al Ghul's plans. With Blackwood's expertise enabling it, Harry agreed. That's why the prophecy mattered, it contained information about magical connections Voldemort needs for the final phase. They spent the summer developing countermeasures, a comprehensive strategy combining Horcrux hunting with surveillance of known Death Eater activities. Harry's network expanded, now including members of the Order of the Phoenix alongside the DA and Batman's allies. The investigation led them to a startling conclusion about Voldemort's Horcruxes. They're not random objects, Harry explained during a secure briefing with Dumbledore present. They're historically and personally significant items. Founders' artifacts. Family heirlooms. Symbols of the wizarding legacy he believes is his birthright. How does this help us find them? Dumbledore asked, impressed despite himself by the thoroughness of Harry's analysis. By thinking like Voldemort, Harry replied. Where would someone obsessed with wizarding heritage, personal grandeur, and symbolic power hide pieces of his soul? The answer led them to a seaside cave where Tom Riddle had tormented fellow orphans, a shack belonging to his mother's family, and eventually to Gringotts itself, the ultimate symbol of wizarding wealth and security. Each recovery operation combined Harry's magical knowledge with Bruce's tactical planning. The locket Horcrux, protected by a potion that induced nightmarish visions, fell to Batman's antitoxin expertise. The cup, hidden in the Lestrange vault, required a heist plan worthy of Catwoman. Throughout their 6th year, Harry's dual education continued, magical study at Hogwarts, detective work under Batman's guidance. The combination made him uniquely effective against both conventional threats and Voldemort's increasingly desperate attacks. When Death Eaters breached Hogwarts through a vanishing cabinet, the Project Draco had been forced to complete, Harry was ready. The DA, trained in Batman's defensive protocols, protected younger students while Harry confronted the invasion's leader. Snape, Harry identified, facing the potion's master on the astronomy tower. Working for Voldemort all along. Or playing a deeper game. Severus Snape's face remained impassive. You know nothing, Potter. I know Dumbledore trusted you, Harry replied, wand ready but not raised. I know you've been feeding information to both sides. I know you made an unbreakable vow regarding Draco. Something flickered in Snape's eyes, surprise at Harry's intelligence network. The headmaster is dead, Snape stated flatly. By my hand, as the vow required when Draco faltered. Harry didn't react emotionally as others might have. Instead, he analyzed Snape's phrasing, body language, and magical signature. On his orders, Harry concluded. Dumbledore was already dying from the ring Horcrux's curse. He instructed you to kill him when the moment came, preserving your cover and preventing Draco from becoming a murderer. Snape's composure cracked slightly. How could you possibly, detective, Harry reminded him. I observe. I analyze. I deduce. Around them, the battle continued, Death Eaters engaging Hogwarts defenders. But in this moment, something shifted between Harry and Snape. The Dark Lord plans to establish control of the Ministry within months, Snape said quietly. Hogwarts will follow. Those who resist will be eliminated. And Blackwood's portal? Nearing completion. The Dark Lord believes it will allow him to transcend magical limitations, to become a living god. Harry nodded. Then our timelines align. We need to destroy the remaining Horcruxes before the portal activates. We. Snape raised an eyebrow. You've been Dumbledore's agent all along, Harry stated confidently. That continues now. Snape studied him for a long moment. You're nothing like your father. I know, Harry replied. I'm my own person. Shaped by different influences. The Batman's ward, Snape acknowledged. His methods are unexpectedly effective. They'll need to be, Harry said grimly. War's coming. The fall of the Ministry happened exactly as Snape predicted. Harry didn't return to Hogwarts for his 7th year, instead establishing a mobile command center from which he, Hermione, and Ron coordinated the resistance. 3 Horcruxes remaining, Harry updated Bruce during a secure communication. The snake, Nagini. Something of Ravenclaw's, likely at Hogwarts. And 1 unknown. The time frame? Bruce asked, his image flickering on the specialized communications device. Accelerating. Death Eater patrols are increasing around specific ley line intersections. Blackwood's portal framework is nearly complete. And Hogwarts? Under Snape's control officially. But he's maintaining our intelligence channel. The DA has gone underground, operating resistance from within. Bruce nodded approvingly. Your network is holding. That's critical. I learned from the best, Harry replied with a slight smile. The Horcrux hunt intensified as winter deepened. Harry applied every detective skill Bruce had taught him, tracking magical signatures, analyzing pattern deviations, identifying Voldemort's psychological blind spots. When they were captured and taken to Malfoy Manor, these skills meant the difference between death and escape. Harry recognized the cellar's structural weaknesses, identified Dobby the house elf as a potential ally, and created a diversion that allowed them to free fellow prisoners. During their escape, Harry disarmed Draco Malfoy, a seemingly minor event that his detective's instinct told him to note carefully. The wand's allegiance shifted to Harry, a magical detail that would prove crucial. Their final intelligence breakthrough came from an unexpected source, Aberforth Dumbledore, the late headmaster's estranged brother. You're not just fighting a dark wizard, Aberforth growled, studying Harry with eyes so similar to his brother's. You're fighting a symbol, a movement, a belief system. I know, Harry replied. That's why conventional magical approaches fail. Voldemort isn't just Tom Riddle anymore, he's an idea people have invested in. And how does Batman's protégé fight an idea? Aberforth asked skeptically. Harry smiled slightly. By understanding its foundation. Every ideology has core components, key beliefs that, if disproven, cause the entire structure to collapse. And Voldemort's? His invincibility. His magical superiority. His destined rule. Harry leaned forward. We don't just destroy the Horcruxes, we destroy the myth he's built around himself. Aberforth studied him thoughtfully. You're not what I expected, Potter. I get that a lot, Harry replied. Their infiltration of Hogwarts, the final battleground, was meticulously planned. Harry coordinated with the DA through the communication network they'd established, positioning teams strategically throughout the castle. Ravenclaw's diadem is the target, Harry briefed his core team. Likely hidden in the Room of Requirement, consistent with Voldemort's pattern of hiding Horcruxes in places of personal significance. And Nagini? Neville asked, his confidence having grown tremendously through the DA training. With Voldemort. She'll be the most protected Horcrux, kept close at all times. The search for the diadem led Harry back to the Room of Requirement, where he encountered Draco, Crabbe, and Goyle attempting to capture him for Voldemort. You don't understand what's happening, Harry told Draco, even as they faced off. Blackwood's portal will consume you once it's activated. You're the conduit, the sacrifice. Doubt flickered across Draco's face. You're lying. I've studied the magical architecture, Harry replied calmly. The portal requires a living channel, someone connected to both the physical location and Voldemort's inner circle. That's you, Draco. Before Draco could respond, Crabbe unleashed Fiendfire, a destructive magical flame that quickly consumed the room. In the chaos that followed, Harry saved Draco's life while retrieving the diadem, which was destroyed by the magical fire. Why? Draco gasped as they escaped the inferno. Why save me after everything? Because that's what detectives do, Harry replied simply. We protect people, even from themselves. The final confrontation approached rapidly. Voldemort, realizing Harry was destroying Horcruxes, accelerated his plans. The portal construction, hidden in the Forbidden Forest at a powerful ley line intersection, neared completion. Harry infiltrated Voldemort's command center, using his invisibility cloak and Batman's stealth techniques. There, he witnessed the Dark Wizard's growing instability as he felt the destruction of his soul fragments. Nagini must be protected. Voldemort hissed to his followers. The portal ritual begins at midnight. Once complete, I will transcend this limited existence. Harry documented everything, transmitting intelligence back to his network. The battle plan formed, multi-pronged, targeting both conventional forces and the portal itself. Voldemort issued his ultimatum: Harry must surrender or Hogwarts would be destroyed. But the message contained something else, a glimpse into the Dark Wizard's fear. For the first time, Voldemort seemed uncertain. He's scared, Harry noted to Hermione and Ron. He's accelerating because he feels vulnerable. Good time to press the advantage, Ron suggested. No, Harry shook his head. It's time for psychological warfare. He expects a hero's sacrifice or a desperate last stand. Instead, he gets a detective's precision. Harry's plan unfolded methodically. First, Neville was positioned with the Sword of Gryffindor, ready to strike Nagini when the moment came. The Order of the Phoenix engaged Death Eater forces, drawing attention from Harry's real objective, the portal site. With Batman's remote guidance, Harry and Hermione infiltrated the clearing where Blackwood's creation pulsed with growing power. The device resembled a massive archway, similar to the one in the Department of Mysteries but enhanced with technological components. Fascinating design, Hermione whispered as they analyzed it from cover. Blackwood's merged runic structures with quantum field generators. And the activation mechanism? Harry asked, scanning with specialized equipment Bruce had provided. There, Hermione pointed to a central control panel. But it's keyed to specific magical signatures. Voldemort's end. Draco's, Harry finished. The unwitting sacrifice. They placed precisely calibrated disruptors, devices Bruce had developed based on their earlier encounters with Blackwood's technology. Not to destroy the portal immediately, but to corrupt its functioning at the critical moment. Sabotage complete, Harry confirmed through their communication link. Phase 2 initiated. The next step was pure Batman strategy, creating the illusion of surrender while actually maneuvering for advantage. Harry walked alone into the forest, apparently giving himself up to Voldemort. Harry Potter, Voldemort greeted, his serpentine face showing triumph. The boy who lived, come to die. Tom Riddle, Harry replied calmly. The orphan who never learned. Anger flashed in Voldemort's red eyes. You dare, I dare quite a lot, Harry interrupted. Including destroying your Horcruxes. The diary. The ring. The locket. The cup. The diadem. All gone. Uncertainty flickered across Voldemort's face before he masked it with a cruel smile. Lies. No one could find them all. No one could know. A detective could, Harry countered. Someone trained to see patterns, to understand the psychology behind your choices. The cave where you tormented children. The gaunt shack representing your true heritage. Bellatrix's vault, your trusted lieutenant. Hogwarts, your first real home. Each location Harry named caused Voldemort's confidence to visibly waver. The Death Eaters shifted uncomfortably, sensing their master's distress. It changes nothing, Voldemort hissed finally. Tonight I transcend Horcruxes, transcend mortality itself. The portal will make me a god. Your portal has been compromised, Harry informed him. Like everything you build, Tom, it's founded on flawed understanding. Enough. Voldemort raised his wand. Avada Kedavra. The killing curse struck Harry directly, but instead of death, he experienced something unexpected. The Horcrux within him, the fragment of Voldemort's soul lodged there since infancy, absorbed the magical impact. Harry found himself in a strange liminal space, a ghostly version of King's Cross Station. There, Dumbledore's spirit explained the final pieces. You were his unintentional Horcrux, Harry. That scar, a piece of his soul attached to yours. But it's gone now. Destroyed by its creator's own hand. A delicious irony. Harry processed this information with a detective's clarity. And I can go back. Finish this? You can, Dumbledore confirmed. You've walked a different path than I anticipated when I left you with your relatives. Batman's influence saved me, Harry completed. In more ways than one. Indeed, Dumbledore acknowledged. I wondered if his methods would prepare you for magical challenges. I needn't have worried. Harry returned to consciousness, maintaining the appearance of death as Voldemort ordered Narcissa Malfoy to confirm his demise. When she leaned close, Harry whispered, Draco is alive. Help me end this, and he stays that way. Narcissa's imperceptible nod was followed by her false confirmation to Voldemort. He is dead, my lord. The procession back to Hogwarts became Harry's opportunity. As Voldemort displayed his victory, Harry implemented the final phase, activating the DA and Order through their communication network. The battle resumed with renewed fury. In the chaos, Harry revealed himself, very much alive, a psychological blow to Voldemort's supporters who had believed their master invincible. How? Voldemort screamed, his composure shattering. How do you live? Detective work, Harry replied simply. Understanding what you never could, that connections between people create power you can't access. That love isn't weakness. That death isn't to be feared. Their final duel played out before the entire school. But unlike their previous encounters, Harry fought with complete confidence. The Horcruxes destroyed, the portal sabotaged, Nagini killed by Neville precisely as planned. When Voldemort cast the killing curse one last time, Harry countered with a simple disarming charm, Expelliarmus. The spells collided, but Voldemort's rebounded. The Elder Wand, which Voldemort wielded, refused to kill its true master. The wand's allegiance transferred when I disarmed Draco at Malfoy Manor, Harry explained as Voldemort fell. He had disarmed Dumbledore before Snape's intervention. Another detail you missed. Another pattern you failed to see. As Voldemort's body collapsed, an unearthly scream came from the forest, the portal, destabilizing without its intended sacrifice. The structure imploded, taking Blackwood with it as he attempted a desperate final activation. The war ended not with a mythic battle of magical titans, but with careful investigation, strategic planning, and exploitation of an enemy's psychological blind spots, exactly as Batman had taught. In the aftermath, Wizarding Society faced its own reckoning. Harry, now recognized not just as the boy who lived but as the wizard detective who had methodically dismantled Voldemort's power, found himself with unexpected influence. They want me to become an Auror, Harry told Bruce during a quiet moment in the Batcave, weeks after the final battle. Head of the department, eventually. Traditional career path, Bruce noted. Is that what you want? Harry considered the question. It would be expected. Comfortable. But it wouldn't address the systemic issues that allowed Voldemort to rise in the first place, Bruce finished. Exactly. Harry pulled up the holographic display they'd developed. The blood purity ideology, the magical creature discrimination, the isolation from Muggle society, all still intact. So what will you do instead? Bruce asked, though his slight smile suggested he already knew. Harry's eyes gleamed with determination. Create something new. A detective agency that bridges both worlds. Solving the cases no one else can, magical or mundane. Wayne Potter Investigations, Bruce mused. Has a nice ring to it. I was thinking of something simpler, Harry replied. The Wizard Detective Agency. Bruce nodded approvingly. You've outgrown being my sidekick. You've become your own kind of hero. I learn from the best, Harry said. But I need to apply those lessons in my own way. The agency took shape rapidly. Hermione joined as research director, her brilliant mind enhanced by technical training from Bruce. Ron's strategic thinking made him an ideal operations manager. Luna's unique perspective proved invaluable for cases requiring unconventional approaches. Their headquarters occupied a unique space, magically connected to both the Ministry of Magic and Wayne Enterprises, symbolizing their bridging of worlds. Cases flowed in from both magical and Muggle clients, often involving intersection points previously thought impossible. Their first major case involved magical artifacts appearing in Muggle museums worldwide, objects that shifted between mundane and magical properties unpredictably. The investigation led them to a former Death Eater attempting to gradually expose the wizarding world through enchanted exhibits. Clever approach, Harry acknowledged after apprehending the perpetrator. Using art as a vector for revelation rather than direct exposure. Would it be so terrible? Hermione asked as they catalogued the recovered artifacts. If our worlds weren't so separated? The separation isn't the problem, Harry replied. It's the imbalance of information. Fear thrives in ignorance. This philosophy became the agency's unofficial motto, illuminating the unknown, bridging understanding, solving mysteries others couldn't comprehend. Their personal lives evolved alongside their professional success. Harry and Hermione's partnership deepened into romance, a natural progression built on years of trust, shared experiences, and complementary strengths. You know, Hermione remarked one evening as they worked late in their office, when you first told me you were raised by Batman, I thought you'd be darker. Brooding. Harry laughed. Bruce can be intense, but he taught me something important. Channeling trauma into purpose isn't about becoming the trauma. It's about creating meaning from it. He'd be proud of what you've built, she said, gesturing to the agency around them. This is a legacy even Batman might envy. It's our legacy, Harry corrected, taking her hand. I couldn't have done any of this alone. 5 years after Voldemort's defeat, the Wizard Detective Agency had become legendary in both worlds. Their cases ranged from magical crimes concealed as mundane to Muggle technology exploited through magical means. Throughout, Harry maintained his connection to Bruce, regularly consulting on particularly complex investigations. During one such consultation in the Batcave, Bruce made an announcement that surprised Harry. I'm considering retirement, he said, removing his cowl after a night patrol. Batman, retire? Harry raised an eyebrow. I didn't think that was in your vocabulary. Bruce smiled slightly. Not retirement from the mission. Transition of methods. Dick has proven himself as Nightwing. Tim is ready for greater responsibility. And you've shown me that legacy isn't just about continuing exactly what I built, it's about evolving it. Harry nodded thoughtfully. Your influence extends beyond Gotham now. Beyond one approach. As does yours, Bruce noted. The wizarding world is changing because of how you applied my methods in new contexts. It was true. Harry's detective-based approach had revolutionized magical law enforcement. The Ministry now maintained a forensic magic division that analyzed magical signatures the way Muggle police examined fingerprints. Hogwarts offered classes in logical analysis alongside traditional spellwork. We built something neither of us could have created alone, Harry acknowledged. A true integration of worlds. As if to emphasize this point, a notification chimed from both their communication devices simultaneously. A case requiring both Batman's expertise and the wizard detective's unique abilities. Temporal anomalies detected in Metropolis, Bruce read. Energy signatures match both Blackwood's portal technology and specialized time-turner mechanics. Harry was already reaching for his coat, a custom design that incorporated both magical protections and Batman-inspired functionality. The Blackwood case was never fully closed, Harry noted. We never found his body after the portal collapsed. And interdimensional travel creates possibilities for temporal displacement, Bruce added, standing to join him. Side by side, mentor and protege prepared to face this new mystery together, the world's greatest detective and the wizard detective he had raised, two approaches now forming something greater than their parts. Ready to solve another impossible case? Harry asked with a confident smile. Bruce's answering expression held pride, partnership, and shared purpose. Always. As they moved toward the Batmobile, Alfred watched from the computer console, a knowing smile on his face. The family business continues, he murmured to himself. Just with a touch more magic than before. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.